The following program, though incredibly nerdy, is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised, and you probably shouldn't watch if you're an overly sensitive pussy.
What a lovely, lovely day. Welcome on in to another stream. Welcome on in to another Friday. We got some good shit to talk about today. Actually, pretty crazy stuff. So you probably saw, and you probably saw on the thumbnail. It all leaked. We got Secret Wars leaks. We got Doomsday leaks. John Campea leaked everything. John Campea leaked everything. John, why you do this? So we're gonna talk about it. Oh, what, John? You're just leaking Doomsday? Well, I'll see your Doomsday and raise you a Secret Wars. We're going over everything. Ah! Sorry, I almost lost my composure there. Look, we're going over everything. It's gonna be a good day. Buckle up your buttholes. Get ready, because we're going there. We're going there. Also, I changed a little bit of the angle. The angle for the camera. Listen, Linda. Listen, it's very similar. I'm not going to act like it's all that different, okay? But Elijah hit me up, and I need to put him on the spot. And I also need to ask you, chat. I need to ask you about this. So, Elijah said that the straight-on angle, like if it was a little too straight on, it was too judgmental. It was like I was judging everybody in chat. And he said it's a little more inviting if you're just a slightly off to the angle. So I turned it like 3% to the side so that it's 3% less judging. I frankly am judging you. I want to judge you. I want you to feel judged. But maybe 3% less. What do you think? It's not the angle. Ango! You just want to show off your giant forearms. What the fuck? This is calm. Now I've seen it for the second time. This feels like a desk show vibe, familiar vibe, and I love it. Okay, but is it judgmental? Do you feel judged? What if I do this? Does this make you feel more or less judged? More or less? More? Less? Small judge? It's like you're interrogating me. Am I pouring into your soul? Am I gazing into your soul? You need a judge robe and Thor's hammer. Indeed, I agree. Is it too hot? The mic too hot? Okay, let's turn it down a little. How about that? How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? Jack Music NG, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. I saw you chatting about it earlier. Today's the day you joined the Nerd Vengers. You've made a wonderful decision. Your entire life's about to change for the better. You're going to be bigger where you want to be bigger, smaller where you want to get smaller. Finances rain from the heavens. Women or men or whomever you would like are super into you all of a sudden. Results may vary, don't sue me, blah, 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 blah. But no, seriously, good choice. Well done, sir. Also, nobody has complimented my Warhammer shirt yet. So that's kind of fucked up, huh? Too low now? You shut your mouth, Big Sauce! I'll try to adjust it a little bit, I guess. I rarely get to view the stream while working. I'm always more concerned with the audio than the video. So what are you saying to me? What am I supposed to do with that? Nice Game of Thrones shirt. Jesus! Welcome, Jack. Yes, welcome, Jack. What a Warhammer shirt. Oh my god. What? Wavy Jalen says, fuck Warhammer respectfully? I feel like you're using my own techniques against me. And I hate it. David, welcome back. Welcome back to being a Nerd Avenger. And is that also some weird AI picture of me as your profile picture? Do I even want to ask? Do I even want to fucking ask, brother? Oh my God. Hey, love you right back. Austin says, back on track in the gym. Hell yeah, man. Thanks for the motivation, bro. Also got my first gifted, and I watched, oh, hang on. I watched the Supergirl pitch meeting. Great day. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Welcome to the members. We're going to do some fun member stuff soon, so you'll be able to participate in that. And I'm glad you're getting into the gym, man. You know, it's I think it's good. I think that you need to move the body, man. And I think, you know, I like lifting heavy things. Some people like running. Some people like yoga. You know, different strokes for different folks. But dude, the body's meant to be worked, man. And if you don't work the body, I feel like it affects the mind, you know, ultimately. So good for you. Good for you. Zach says, since becoming an Avenger, my wife has been very happy. My bank account is in great shape, and I basically am better in every single way. Thank you, Josh. Well, you know, results may vary. Don't sue me, bro, but that's exactly what will happen to you. If you become a Nerd Avenger, allegedly, maybe. Results may vary, etc., etc. All right, let's catch up on some of this stuff here. Zach, thank you again for the gifted membership, brother. John Johnson says, where the hell my phone? Lizzo as Doom, probably. I don't think I understand that, and yet I think I nailed it. Perez, thank you for a gifted membership, brother. That's very kind. Soda Pop Walters, welcome to the Nerd Vengers, baby. Joshua Campbell, hope you're doing well, brother. Says, y'all nerds better hit the like. Nerd Vengers for life. Well, little Leia's in here. She's here to cause trouble. Can you say hi to chat? Come here. You want to come up? Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. They're over there. You want to say hi? Can you look? You want to look over there? You want to look over there? No? Look over there, sweetie. Well, stream's completely off the rails now. Oh, is that Luke too? We got both of them in here? Sir Olivo says, ayo, happy Friday. Bro, what the fuck, John? I know, I can't believe he's spoiling all of it. Hey, real quick, chat. Do you think John Campea is spoiling Doomsday because he wants to try to hurt Kevin Feige and Marvel? And he's mad because James Gunn is fucking up and we're all making fun of him and he's really loyal to Gunn. And I mean, I'm a total schizo conspiracy theorist, so we can't take what I say as any kind of literal thing. But like, what do you think? Am I crazy, or did John Campea get the call from James Gunn? And he's like, I'm fighting for my fucking life here! You better go spoil Doomsday! Make it look as shitty as possible, John! And John's like, making it look as shitty as possible? That's my specialty! Oh, hello. Do you have anything to add to that segment about John? You think I'm being too mean? Okay. She says I'm being too mean. Perez says, I love that Secret Wars leak, but a part of me thinks it was too simple and predictable. Took the day off, so we blinking and drinking in the morning. Oh, shit. About to have a lit stream, man. Appreciate you, brother. Let's see here. Joshua follows up and says, I banged my finger with a hammer and I blame Warhammer? But seriously, I need some sauce to ease the pain. Ooh, that's a tough one, brother. I've been there. I've certainly banged. And I've also hit my fingers with a hammer before. The official Milo says, finally caught one live, not on the replay. Been working 2 jobs, studying for an IT certification and making music. The grind is tiring and purposeful. Thanks for being a staple. Oh man, that's good to hear, man. I'm glad that you're out there grinding. Happy to have you in the tower live, and I appreciate you watching on the replay. So thank you. We're doing our thing. We're gonna keep doing our thing. So thank you. Okay, yeah, we already read that with Zach there. Somebody did a message and got erased or whatever. Let's see here. PQ4149, appreciate the $20 hauler. Very generous. Why do I feel like I'm not going to like this message, though? What you think about James Gunn directing the next Warhammer movie? LOL. That's a good one! That's a good one. Nah, man. Nah. Rossi, I'm going to get to that in just a second. And don't worry, because I'm going to lead with love today, okay? I charged my crystals on the full moon, and I looked at my astrology charts with the zodiac signs, and the stars said that I'm gonna be loving today. So I'm gonna lead with love, while also telling you guys that, like, yo, fuck that, fuck this, I'm not going to this fucking museum, fuck the West Coast and all that. But I'm leading with love. We're gonna get there. Just relax. Let me cook. No, James Gunn is not going to direct the next fucking Warhammer movie. But I will say this. And I actually want to do. Let me just make sure. Let me check one thing here. Okay, hang on. Diddly diddly do. Diddly diddly do. Okay, diddly diddly do. Diddly diddly do. I wanted to do this as a full-ass segment, not a half-ass segment. I kind of wanted to do this as a full-ass segment. But we got a lot to get to today. How do I say this? All right. You know what? We'll take a little detour. We'll take a little Warhammer detour. I'm sure hundreds of people won't click off of the live stream, and I'm sure I won't get a ton of comments in chat about fuck Warhammer and everybody screaming and being a little bitch boys about it. Let's take a little detour and talk about Warhammer. So, Warhammer, it's the greatest, it's the best, but it's also like, where the fuck is the show, okay? And I understand that. Trust me, I am anxious for the show as well. And as somebody that's been, trying to follow it as best I can, getting a little scoopage here, a little scoopage there, I have been told things behind the scenes about how it's like continuing to go on, but it's obviously slow going. And I think there's a lot of concern. Well, I finally got an update, and it's a pretty cool one. So they have actually figured out which VFX studio is going to handle the VFX work on the Warhammer show, and presumably the entire Warhammer, cinematic universe, whatever it ends up being. It is said to start as a show, but they do have ambitions for movies. So I want to be honest here, I have this verified by 2 sources, but I've got a really good Warhammer source that I haven't heard back from yet. So I'm trying to maybe have a conversation over the weekend or something, where I can get more information, not just about this, but about what is happening with Warhammer in general. But what I can say is it's absolutely moving forward. There's motion. And this studio here, which I guess this VFX studio is called D-Neg or D-Neg, or because I believe it's D-Neg. This is the company here, okay? They did the VFX for the He-Man movie. They did the VFX for Dune. They've done VFX for Mad Max, the Godzilla movies. So this studio's big time, you know what I mean? And I would say that even though He-Man in particular was, you know, kind of a bomb and didn't really do well, technically doing worse than Supergirl, although she's making it a competition with how badly Supergirl is doing as well. The one thing you can't say about He-Man is that it didn't look good. It looked real good, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this. I don't think it's the full picture. I think there'll obviously be other collaborators. I've always kind of personally hoped that Weta would be involved. Weta makes a lot of stuff for the Warhammer universe currently right now. But this is a big deal. So this is cool, man. This is really cool. It's a big deal. We have an official VFX studio that's working on Warhammer. Oh, man, I wonder if there's anything else I can say. I mean, I can tell you that the Brad Pitt thing was real. I don't know if they've signed Brad or whatever, but the Brad Pitt thing was absolutely real. I know that they have writing done. I know they have producers. I know they have plans. But also, you know, Cavill is keeping pretty busy. He's doing a lot of stuff, but you'll notice he's doing a lot more like acting and just like dropping in and out of like roles. He's not doing as much of like, you know, producing and work outside of that. And I kind of think that what he's trying to do is, you know, kind of keep the acting career going as a way to continue to have as high a profile as possible. I truly believe that the Warhammer stuff is like the most important thing to him, but it's also something that is going to take years. You know, the last time that Games Workshop officially talked about the Warhammer project, they had basically said in an actual filing for their financials that the date of release and how long it'll take is up to their partners, and they can't really force the partners, but they trust their partners, and the partners are Amazon and Cavill's company, right? So it's slow going, but it's definitely still going to happen. And I'm pretty excited for it. I actually think, and I know I've said this like a million times, but like I think the Warhammer has an incredibly high ceiling. I think especially with where pop culture is currently at right now. I mean, like, look at what's happened this year, right? Like, you look at the box office, it tells a really interesting story. You got He-Man going back to a really old IP that was like a big deal back at the time. They somewhat try to modernize it, but they want to hold on to, you know, the themes and the principles from the past. It's not a parody. It keeps it, you know, it's taking itself seriously, but at the same time, I think the audience, or the lack of audience, right, the potential audience, by and large rejected it out of either, like, you could call it a fear, or I guess an expectation that Hollywood would muck it up, and that, like, what they really cared about with the thing wasn't going to be there. I think there's people that would have fucked with a different kind of He-Man more than this one, frankly. And I also think that Hollywood in general, just there's a lot of like a lack of trust there. You look at Supergirl and it's like, man, people totally turned on that, John. Like, they just don't give a fuck. There's nothing about the other Superman movie or the prospects of a shared DC universe that's enough to entice people to actually go out and see this thing. Just no way around it. Look at the numbers. Like, it's not there. Star Wars, I mean, it's insane. It's actually insane that a brand that was purchased for $4+ billion, one of the most iconic, you know, just, you know, you say so many things about Star Wars or what it used to be. It's bombing in theaters, man. It's bombing in theaters in embarrassing fashion. And, you know, while Hollywood's like scrambling and trying to figure all of this shit out, I think the answer is basic. It's as basic as the consumers do not trust Hollywood to give them something novel and something meaningful, regardless of what IP or franchise or thing they're doing. I mean, even Steven Spielberg, his new Disclosure Day movie it's flopping, guys. It's flopping. Like, there's just no way around it. Like, nobody is like excited about old guard mentality, people talking about this, that, second, and the third. And I think people are really fatigued of a sanitized, preachy Hollywood. You know what I mean? And Warhammer is like antithetical to that. Warhammer is fucking hardcore, bro. Like that's its identity. So it's almost like all these other things have their what they are, whether it's Marvel, Star Wars, DC, or whatever. And then Hollywood, in the way that they interpret it, they sanitize it, they change it, they try to insert a message or whatever. But it's almost like Warhammer is so hardcore, so hyper violent, so over the top, so chud, dude bro coded, that like even if Hollywood wanted to sanitize it, like good luck. Like how are you even going to do that? It's so in the DNA of the thing. I think that's a big part of it, man. People want something that feels authentic, something that feels novel, something that's going to give them a feeling and an experience. And I also think there's this archetypical thing that's going on with Warhammer. Star Wars at one time had that because I think there was a real draw to the idea of tapping into a higher level of consciousness, via the Force, tapping into some kind of power, the idea of being a Jedi or being a Sith or whatever, like this, that really worked at a time. I think there's something about the spirit of where the audience was at, the spirit of that story, and then it creates a resonance, right? But now it's all like Disneyfied, shiny plastic, literally purple hair chicks telling, military vet guys that they don't know shit. Like it's just whack. It's become whack. And Warhammer, I mean, it's like a acid trip soap opera where you take all of the great myths and stories from the past and you do a fusion dance with post-apocalyptic, hardcore, militant rage. And it just has a fucking vibe to it, bro, And so I think people are ready, man. I think people are ready. I think people are going to be shocked at how well Warhammer is actually going to do when it's in live action. And look, I'll throw a bone to Chillin in the basement. He brought up the other night that Snyder had said on a Hot Mic podcast that he believes Warhammer will be very successful. And the reason he says that is just because whenever he tweets about Warhammer or talks about Warhammer, he gets a lot of engagement on social media. And I think that's just facts. Despite what the butthurt Star Wars fans and the Marvel fans that haven't caught on yet would tell you in this community, Warhammer's on the rise, man, and it is making big gains in all sorts of communities, and it's more popular than ever. I think people are psyched. So this thing is still happening. I wish I could say more. I wish there were more updates, but the reality is we'll probably be kind of getting out of the Secret Wars hype, kind of looking into the Mutant Saga, and that's right about the time that Warhammer will actually start popping off. We'll get actual like trailers and logos and things of that nature. That's the timing that I think. So maybe some light teases next year, but a lot more teases in the following year. So there you go. A little bit of yapping about Warhammer. Chat, what do you think? Hey, yo, chat, what do you think? Everybody excited? Everybody really into it? Also, the visuals and the aesthetic are exactly what people are looking for. It's the best of all favorite franchises, just elevated. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree. I think that it's this sort of gothic space horror vibe and aesthetic is unique. And I think you can see how it has elements of what currently seem to be the in alignment with the taste that a lot of people have. I mean, Doomsday is going to be pretty dark, man. Like they're going pretty dark with Doomsday. And even Spider-Man, I think, is more mature. It's going a little bit in that darker direction. The Boys certainly paved a lot of ground in that way. Invincible. You look at some of these things that are doing well, that are popping off. Even Andor, which I don't even like Andor, but Andor shows that taking a science fiction, family-based franchise and like twisting in this like very realist, like very radicalized way was attractive to people. People were like, yeah, I'm into that. So yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. The aesthetics, dude, I'm telling you, the aesthetics are going to be so good. So good. rated R Warhammer. Yeah, I mean, I would have like Warhammer has to be rated mature. I'm not sure how they'll figure all of that out, but I mean, yeah, like even PG-13, it would have to be so violent. Like I could see it maybe being PG-13, but it'd have to be PG-13 for like strong violence and gore and like, because it is shocking. Like it's crazy. It's crazy and shocking. I wish I could make the argument that people still want nostalgia shit, remakes and whatnot, but I can't. Master of the Universe failed. Even season 2 of Airbender is blowing it. Yeah, well, I think that, like, I personally view that as a little bit different than most people are saying it. Like, a lot, like, kind of what you're saying is nostalgia's dead. And I don't think nostalgia is dead. I think your regularly scheduled nostalgia slop is growing quite tired for folks. Meaning, because, like, the thing that's wild about He-Man is, like, there's a lot of He-Man fans that like it. But I think you look at the numbers, and it's just so obvious that the vast majority of people saw that, and I think experiences they've had with Hollywood over the past 5 years basically just made it very easy for them to look past it. So essentially, they're like, that's not even going to be great for the folks that really want it. And therefore, why should I care? Do you know what I mean? Like that, like, does that make sense? Because it's not nostalgia, because I think other nostalgic things are going to like work, but it is interesting. Like even Toy Story is underperforming, right? The Toy Story 5 or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, how do you like decipher that? Because it's still doing a lot better than a lot of other movies, right? But it's not doing what those movies used to do. And I think that is really the difference. It's like there's still enough there, and maybe there's still enough nostalgia or still enough of a connection to those characters in that brand to get a lot of people to choose it over a lot of other things, right? But there's like sort of this 30-40% of what used to be that was locked in that have just found other things to value more. And, you know, I guess they kind of just decide where does this movie now fit on my sort of totem pole of shit that I want, you know? Because, like, look, Spider-Man is going to do great. It looks like Spider-Man's going to be $1 billion movie. So what does that mean? Does that just mean people love nostalgia, people love Spider-Man, comic book movies are saved? No. It's more like the signs point to that one being great. And people just have a better way of discerning that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, the main point is Warhammer is still making progress. They've got an incredible VFX team. I think this shit's going to blow up. I'm building a lot of Warhammer content. I guess I have a little bit more time to build it because the show's taking a while. But I'm telling you right now, this shit's going to pop the fuck off. I'm calling it right now. Okay, anyway, let me catch up on some super chats here. Does everybody know that Warhammer's going to be the next big thing? Throw a goddamn one into the chat if you know that. Throw one into the chat. If you just throw one into the chat if you realize. Okay. Christian Ramirez says 10 months as a nerd venture can confirm bigger arms, smaller wiener. Wait, what? Amazing. Trev says 6 fucking years. Jesus fucking Christ. Back to the strike line. Wait, what? You're still striking? How close are you to a collective bargain or whatever? John Johnson says, gun to Campia. Do what must be done. Yeah, it kind of feels like it. Huh? It kind of feels like it. Okay, here's Mr. Rossi with a $20 holler. Says, Nerd Vengers. There will be a West Coast Nerd Vengers meetup for the George Lucas Museum starting September 5th. Cool Bear got tickets for MegaCon crew. Darth will meet up. Non-tact me or Cool Bear if you're interested. I think he meant contact me. Okay, so let me explain what's going on here. Cool Bear and a group of Nerdvengers that met up at MegaCon are going to the George Lucas Museum, and apparently they're doing some kind of VIP tour thing or something like that. And so they're going to be doing that, and then they're also, in general, going to be doing a West Coast meetup around September 5th. So just in the West Coast area, some Nerdvengers are going to be there. They're going to be hanging out. If you're around that area and you want to go meet up with the Nerdvengers, please do it. I think it'll be a very good time. So I think that's awesome. I think you guys are going to have an incredible time. But I will say, I was offered to go to this with these Nerdvengers. I was offered to be a part of this VIP experience, meet George Lucas, you know what I mean? And do all these sort of things. And I was like, no. I don't think I will. And I want to explain, because I'm so pumped. Like, you know what I mean? So happy for you guys, genuinely. And I think it's going to be great. But I fucking hate Star Wars. And you'd have to ask yourself, could it be possible? Is it possible for Josh to hate Star Wars so much that he would turn down a VIP experience of going to the George Lucas Museum and meeting George Lucas? Yeah. It's that bad. It's that bad. Love you, George. Wish you well. Museum's dope. I'll come visit after we get through all this crazy Marvel stuff, because it's the year of fucking Doomsday, and then there's Secret Wars, and then maybe there'll be a third Avengers movie. I'm in the fucking pocket with Marvel shit. I'm building Warhammer shit. I'm talking to the fucking aliens. I ain't got time. But I hope you guys have an incredible time. Wonderful. If you're interested, check it out. Contact Cool Bear, contact Rossi. You know what I was thinking to myself? Just to take it. I was like, okay, so what is this going to be? Like an extension of chat where all the fucking Star Wars fans won't stop talking about Star Wars They're talking about Star Wars and bringing up all the Star Wars shit and asking me if I watch Darth Maul. What do I want? A live version of that with all you fuckers in the actual room with me? No, thank you. But thank you for the invite. You know, I mean, really appreciate it. Sir Olivio says the $5 holla. Hey, Josh, longtime fan here. Been creating an original fantasy world called Goldion with AI. Thanks for all the inspiration. That's awesome, man. I hope you have a good time with that. Everybody that's an AI hater, don't listen to them. They're dumb, stupid heads. AI's taking over. Make sure you select the best artists to steal from. To take inspiration from. And I can't wait to see what you do with AI. It's incredible technology that's going to change entertainment forever. Much love. Nick P says the $10 holla. I told you guys I was leading with love today. Okay, I read the star charts. Saturn is in retrograde up my Pluto's Uranus. And so I'm leading with love today. I hope you can tell. I hope you're feeling it. I hope you're feeling the love. Nick P says, me and my buddies wanted to see a movie last night. Someone was like, Supergirl is out. And then we all laughed and said, we're not seeing a girl superhero movie. I mean, look, man. It sounds like you and your friends are massagists or whatever they say in the streets, you know? I'm not that. So I can't laugh at your comment or give you any kind of, tacit approval by saying that that's exactly what you should be doing. February 2099 says, Campia has been wild, saying the animated Venom movie blocked off the MCU. I'm personally worried about the upcoming Sony reboot. Give me copium. I don't know what you're saying there, buddy. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Animated Venom movie blocked off MCU? You're worried about the Sony reboot? Give you copium? I need more context, man. I need more context. Did anybody know what he's talking about there? CT Visuals 420 says, if I drew you a sketch card, would you put it in the setup if it's badass enough? If it's badass enough, yes. But I have pretty high standards, man. You know what I mean? Like, I have pretty high standards. So, yo, show me what you got. Let's see here. Jay Thicksky, too, interesting name, says, in Brand New Day, Yelena takes Hulk away because Hulk accidentally kills some people in his rage. That's why Hulk is not in Doomsday. Yeah, that could be. We've heard some rumors of that. Is she going to be naked when she does it? Oh, Gold Lion. I knew that. Because Daniel RPK said yesterday that Spider-Man Brand New Day, and I quote, let's see here, opens with a graphic full nude sex scene between Tom Holland and Florence Pugh Pugh's Yelena. I mean, Daniel gets some stuff wrong, you know what I mean? Take it with a grain of salt. We don't know for sure. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, right? Rossi says with a 10 spot, if people are a little short on money to get there, we want to try to put together a fund for some people to get out there. Just want to hang out with our fellow nerd ventures. That's actually really nice. Seriously, look, I hate Star Wars. I fucking hate it. I'm so over it. I don't talk about it anymore. Don't bring it up. Don't ask me about it. But if you're not like me, and if you still like Star Wars a little bit, you know what I mean? If you still want to, you know, go, dude, contact Rossi and Cool Bear. Seriously, contact Rossi and Cool Bear on the Discord and go have a good ass time. They'll help you out. Okay, let's see here. Perez says, brother, you don't hate Star Wars. You want to hate Star Wars. I get it. It sucks right now, but your heart makes you bring it up. Reference, memes, etc. Yeah, that's probably true. I'm going to fucking move right past that one and ignore it and never bring it up again. Thanks, though. But Sir Olivio says, lead with love, baby. It's pronounced Gold Lion. This is going to be a leak-heavy stream. Yeah, dude. The heaviest of leaks that you can imagine. Like, just full-on, just spraying all over. You know what I mean? Just kind of smells like asparagus kind of stuff. CT Visuals 420 says, I will surpass your standards. Doom good? Yeah, let's do it, buddy. Let's do it. Hit me up. You know it's not a Star Wars museum, right? Yeah, no, I know that. Thanks, Rossi. Appreciate you. Much love, buddy. Much love. All right, now we're all caught up. Let's go, man. We got some shit to talk about today. Where are the leaks then? I want to talk about X-Men 97. I want to talk about Dr. Doom not from 828. And then I want to talk about Hugh Jackman till he's 90. And then I want to do the leaks. Are you saying that's not good and I should just go right into the leaks? Should we just go right into the leaks? I don't know. I usually like a little foreplay. I like to heat up the oven before you stick the turkey in. You know what I mean? What am I looking for here? John Campia says he was sharing a full plot description of Avengers Doomsday. Interesting. He showed a picture of the entire description on his screen, and all it says, it says all of it's the real deal. He blurred out all the text in the description. He was sent the following words: the full plot description of Avengers Doomsday. Oh shit! Here it is, boys. Oh shit. Oh shit. Should we get into it? Or should we do the other stuffs? Mando and Grogu would have killed 15 years ago. That's the problem. That is certainly a problem, yeah. Audiobook voice engaged. No more speculation! Oh no, there's plenty of room for speculation too. I'll check out X-Men 97 Season 2 after I finish Maul, of course. Dude, fuck that shit. He said, John Campy said yesterday Skeleton Crew is the best Disney Plus project. Guys, what do you think Campia thinks about Ice Spice and Toby together? I'm not going to lie. When I first saw the pics, okay, right? Because they shot some pics of like Toby and Ice Spice together. My first thought was we need Campia. You know what I mean? Like we need Campia. Enhance. What's going on with his wiener? Like how, you know what I mean? What's sad about Star Wars, remember, X-Men 97 exists. That's true. I actually have a whole segment here. I want to gush about X-Men 97 a little bit. In the RuneScape community, we call it milking. You're milking the less interesting stories and doing the bigger ones at the end for retention. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I am. Like everybody else on the fucking internet. Like John had the thumbnail yesterday, like, this plot leak's bigger than Toby's wiener, but saves it for the third hour. Yeah. Anyway, I'm leading with love today, you know what I mean? Like the star chart said that my Uranus is in retrograde. Does this feel a little less am I a little less judgy here? Do you feel judged? Do you feel less judged? Talk X-Men 97 first. Hell yeah. Okay, can we just, how about this? Just 2 segments. Just 2 really quick segments. Just really quick. I want to do X-Men 97. I'll try to keep it to 10 minutes. And then we got to talk about Doctor Doom being from 8 to 8. Just real quick. Oh, real quick. Okay? Oh man, X-Men 97 season 2, first 3 episodes, they fucking cooked. They fucking cooked, chat. Agree or disagree, chat? Did you see the first 3 episodes of X-Men 97? What do you think of the episodes? Put it into the chat. Let's have a little combo about this. So first off, I really liked the episodes. I felt like there was so much energy. I feel like we kind of hit the ground running. I feel like there's maybe some pacing issues, which we'll talk about Bo, and we'll talk about his stuff, what has changed, etc., which I don't know. Honestly, I don't know a ton about, but I will talk a little bit about what I know. But man, I thought it was so good. Hits the ground running. The plots are cool. The action's awesome. The animation on fucking point. And I know we say this all the time, and I'm sorry for you Invincible fans, but like, how can y'all live with yourselves? Your show is PNG bullshit, dude. It's so bad. The animation's so bad. I'm sorry. Invincible's cool, and there's episodes that are really fun. And I like it, but it deserves the level of care that X-Men 97 is getting. Like, even when the people are just talking, they're in scenes just conversing with each other, it's like hand-drawn animation that has depth of field and background consideration. I don't know. It's just crazy. And then the X-Men themselves are such a fun, colorful crew of interesting personalities with really fun powers. Man, the way the powers are used, like, I don't know, like, it's almost like the snowball effect. Like, you can tell people love the X-Men that made this show, and because they love the X-Men, they're putting that love into everything the X-Men do. 97 just has a special thing going on. You felt it all season 1. It's a little bit of a tip of the cap, just over and over again. You can tell they love the X-Men, and they're giving you some shit that you can then love about the X-Men. The powers, the sound, man. Like, dude, when Apocalypse was like coming down, like they did like teleport thing, and then I'm like, holy shit. I love the part where young Cable takes one of the mech arms and connects it into his bionic arm and starts firing. And man, Storm doing a solar fucking flare, like using the powers of the sun and weather, cosmic weather, a solar storm. GTFO, it was so cool. It was so cool the way they utilize X-Force. And I think it's sharp. I think it's fun. And I'm really impressed with these first 3 episodes. Now, real quick, too, before we talk about why this is so perfect for the MCU, it couldn't have happened at a better time. I was happy to see that Bo retained both his executive producer credit and writing credit on at least part 1 of that 3-parter, and I would imagine he'd have writing credit on all of it, okay? Now, I do recognize some things that have changed from things maybe he told me about his vision for season 2 a while ago. And yeah, I do think there's some things that are changed. The pacing has changed a little bit. It almost feels like they're changing what they're doing with Magneto, or what he wanted to do with Magneto. I'm not really sure. So basically, it kind of seems like the lattice, or, you know, the general track that Bo had set up, the general track that Bo had laid out, is still being done, but there's adjustments. They're making adjustments, they're making changes, and I'm fairly confident that he was not a part of those changes, okay? But I mean, to be real, we were all pretty freaking worried about season 2 because of, you know, him no longer working there, and then there were a lot of questions as to like how much of what he did would they keep, and then there's always this worry of like, oh, are they going to be really petty and purposely go in a different direction to try to remove his credit, to try to remove his writing credit, etc. And it seems like they didn't do that. And no changes that I've noticed in the show so far feel malicious or feel like a very specific thing to, you know, undermine Bo's this, that, second, and third. It doesn't feel like petty bullshit games are being played. It just feels like, you know, they kind of want to do their own thing, and certainly maybe adjusting things for the potential future, the next couple of seasons that they want to do. So, man, very cool. You know, very cool. As a Marvel fan, I'm really excited. I know there's some, I know, like, I think Deadline is writing an article where Bo kind of goes into a little bit more of like his side of things, and, you know, like that's his right and everything. I'm not really going to give that too much airtime, you know, specifically. And I hope that, you know, just like with Rob Liefeld, like I think Rob is, like, he, you know, he's got his opinions, he's opinionated, and maybe even a curmudgeon in some ways, maybe old school in some ways, maybe an asshole in some ways, maybe cocky in a lot of ways. But I think it's in everybody's best interest with somebody like Rob Liefeld to like have him back in the Marvel fold and have him rooting for Marvel and whatever, you know. And I don't know how much damage was done there or whatever, but I feel a similar way to like Bo. Like, I just think there's a way everybody could move forward in a better way, but who knows, right? But for most people, that's not even a consideration, right? And possibly, if this show continues to be very successful, it won't be a big talking point 3 to 4 years down the line if we get several more seasons that all tend to slap. But man, oh man, this show is good, and I think it's fitting like the perfect place, the gap that Marvel has on Disney Plus. So much of their Disney Plus stuff feels too derivative and lesser than the Marvel stuff. I mean, it's like the biggest paradox of Disney Plus Marvel content. How do you create a ton of streaming content for what at one time was the most popular franchise in the world without devaluing the content that made it the most popular franchise in the world? And that would be the movies. And frankly, the Marvel movies are serialized television done through movies. That's what they are. They have story arcs. They have all these things that they take from television. And besides like Loki and maybe a little bit of WandaVision, most of the Disney Plus shows kind of start strong and just flounder, and it's like they really don't know what the fuck they're doing over there, okay? But this show is so good. Like, I think it's as good, if not better, than a lot of the movies they put out. And yet, it also like feels right for it to exist in the form of a streaming show that is released the way that it is released. I really think they should lean more into the animation. I don't know how many live action shows you even need in your Disney Plus. Like maybe 1 or 2, but I just don't. I don't think that's really working well. And I think it really has to do with that problem of like, how do we do the dopest shit ever in the dopest franchise and not devalue what's in the theater? So I say, fuck that. Do something super awesome in its own right. It's in its totality, it is great. It's not connected to your live action stuff, so you don't need to worry about that. Like, that's what I want from Marvel. And I think you do like a Spider-Man show. You can do, dude, there's so much you could do in the vein of X-Men 97. Like, dude, you could do an Exile show. You know, like actually going to different universes and times and doing crazy stuff. Dude, yeah. So I'm really supportive of this whole thing, and I hope they lean into it. Very happy for, you know, Brad Winderbaum, everybody involved in the show. I think it's going to be a big hit, man. I think it's going to be a big hit, okay? Last thing on this topic, though. Couldn't have happened at a better time. As you're going into your live-action X-Men reboot, and you're doing this nostalgia callback to the 90s X-Men, which was so seminal. It was informative to so many people. I mean, Rob from Comics Explained will tell you that's what gets him into X-Men. And how many motherfuckers did Rob get into X-Men and Marvel in general with his videos? You know what I mean? So, like, The 90s X-Men show is important, and it's great that they're just doing a new kind of version of it. It feels so good. But it also sets up and like sort of re-energizes the love of the X-Men in general. And we're about to get a whole bunch of X-Men in Doomsday, in Secret Wars, and then in the soft reboot or reset of Marvel. And it just could not have happened at a better time. And I hope that they're taking the lessons of what works in 97. Why is it working? And I hope they're bringing it in to their live action stuff. They're obviously going to do it in a different way. It's different. But look at what's working. Look at what's resonating with the fans. Like, dude, you have a sandbox there and people are fucking with it heavy. So I think that there's an opportunity here if Marvel can be intelligent about how they're going to sort of cherry pick the things from 97 that are working, bring those into the live action version of the X-Men and go full throttle. There's just a lot of hope for what can actually happen with the X-Men. And dude, it's like, you look at this show and it's just obvious why the X-Men were the most popular thing at Marvel. You know what I mean? Like, they just blew the fuck up when it all came together the right way. I think they've continued to be one of the most popular things that Marvel has. And it's really exciting to see them turn in this future. And then one other thing, because I said I was done, but I'm not done yet. Big time rumors in the comic book world that the reboot after Krakoa, Fall of X or whatever the fuck it became, there's going to be another status quo change in December of this year because Marvel sort of recognized that what they were trying to do with the X-Men, it wasn't working. It seems like they're going to try to do another revitalization of that. And I'm frankly like for that. I know it kind of makes you look bad because you're like, oh, this thing didn't work. But dude, if it's not working, fucking pull the plug, man. Pull the plug, get an interesting idea, bring some new talent in, shake it up, conceive of something new. There's a way to do traditional X-Men that doesn't have to feel like, hey, well, we needed it for the movies, yank it, Krakoa, this is half-baked, this person likes this and that, because it's just not really resonating. So hopefully, X-Men change in comics, more X-Men stuff in video games, more X-Men 97, X-Men utilized properly in Doomsday and in Secret Wars, and then X-Men Saga with the mutants. Dude, come on, let's go. They have a path. They have a plan. I think it's going to work. Okay, what do you think? What do you think of the X-Men? What do you think about X-Men 97 and all that? The event is called DNX. This era of X-Men is so fucking boring. Can you tell us a little bit more about DNX, or is there no real info out about it? Yeah, what do you think? Let me know. Zach says, Josh, I agree with you about the live action shows, but I think a show would be a perfect for all the mutants who won't be involved in the movies. Yeah, so that's fair. And we have heard that there could be like a show at the X Mansion with like younger mutants and maybe even have some traditional X-Men in that show, like of the new cast, but like the old guard that are teachers or whatever that make kind of appearance. That could work, actually. That could work, and I feel like I would be interested in that if it was done right. But I hope you still understand my point of like, man, this animation shit is hype. I mean, we talk about anime all the time, dude. Anime's fucking killing it. Anime's killing it. Which, by the way, a ton of fun animes coming out soon. Black Clover's back, baby. Solo Leveling Season 3, my God. Oh, I'm excited. So, look, that's where the motion's at. People are excited about it. You're about to get your absolute Batman, anime show. Cook. Marvel Animation becomes Marvel Anime low-key, and all is right in the universe. I'm telling you. Jesse the Dad Body says, writer's strike was 2023. No excuses for bad stories. I don't know. What are you implying? Am I missing something? What do you mean by that? Ninth Jedi hype? Wait, where's that at? Where's the Ninth Jedi hype? Let me look around. Oh, it's not fucking existent! So far, it's just an event with the F4 and the X-Men. Slim being the new Magneto figure, which I like. Okay. Are they going to undo the retcon of Franklin's shit? I heard they might give him his X-Gene back. Is that true? Zinni says, I wish they'd bring back the 90s Spider-Man show the same way they did the X-Men. Me too, brother. Me too. I think that'd be super cool. You could ask Rob if he wants to come on Friday streams and talk about X-Men 97 for the next few weeks. That's true, actually. I'll hit him up. This is why the MCU has been limping for the past few years. There's no story in the MCU, nothing about the fall of the multiverse. Yeah, the overarching story has not been great. That was the excuse they made during movie production for movies and shows that came out in the last 2 years. Oh, you're talking about like Hollywood? Is that what they're saying? So are they saying like that's what happened with Mando Grogu and Supergirl and all that? Like, or no, because those are this year. I still don't understand what you're saying, brother. I must be missing the point. Click Clack says, X-Men 97 is a miracle to me. It came out of nowhere when I was least into Marvel I've ever been. It's the exact show I want as a diehard X-Men fan. Dude, right? Like, man, I don't know if I'm selling this enough. Like, X-Men 97 is great. I needed that shit as a Marvel fan. I needed to remember. Like Simba. Remember who you are. That's right, I am a Marvel fan. I am an X-Men fan. You know what I mean? I need a Kang animation series next. Is that bait? Chat, do you think that's bait? Do you think this guy's trying to give me shit on Kang again? Do you remember? Robert Meyer Burnett, Rob? He knows what's up. No, Rob won't talk to me. Robert Meyer Burnett won't talk to me. You know, I hit him up all the time. I send him love letters and Twitter DMs. You know, I saw on Twitter the other day, Robert Meyer Burnett's never played a full game of Warhammer. And I was like, well, bro, I could change that. You want to know all about Warhammer? You want to know all about it? Rob, I'll tell you. And you know what he said to me? John Campbell said, I'm not allowed to talk to you, Josh. So leave me alone. It's probably because you be dissing Campia. What are you talking about? I never diss Campia. I'm a huge supporter. You guys got me fucked up, as the kids say. He's an acquired taste, but a cool guy. Are you talking about me? All right, we're way off track here, guys. Just shut your mouth and watch X-Men 97, okay? All right, one last little segment before we get into the full plot leaks that John Campia did. All right, everybody, listen. We got to talk about a leak that, you know, I think it's kind of a game changer. And the thing it's a little bit frustrating, I'm not going to shit on Alex because I know for sure he's just trying to figure it out, just trying to do his best. But, man, oh, man, this one is weird. And I think it's a difficult one because I've been back and forth on it, bro. You know, I think I said, I want to say it was last week. It could have been even the week before that, like, oh, dude, he could actually be from 828, Dr. Doom. Remember? I think I did a segment on it. I even did a video about it. I'm pretty sure on the main channel. But then Alex sort of doubled down in some of the Q&As this week that Doom had an original universe that was not 828. And so a lot of us were like, whoa, okay, so he's not from 828. That's pretty wild. So here's something that happened last night. Alex Brett says, clarification. It would appear I was wrong in my previous statements about RDJ's Doom belonging to an alternate universe in Avengers Doomsday. While that was a path that was originally explored, Doom is in fact from Earth 828 as previously reported on previous leaks. My bad. Okay, so that solves that. It also opens the door to many different questions. And I suppose the first thing I'll say about this is, you know, I'll go back to what my original take was when I heard that the 828 thing is real. And my take was that, okay, so this means that RDJ's Doom is on 828 or comes from 828 or incarnates on, there's so many ways to think about it. He's from 828. And at some point he leaves, because we can't forget that the flags in the Fantastic Four are not the Latvian flags of that country when Doom rules them. They do not have the Doom mask on them. And so it appears that in 828, Doctor Doom never took over Latveria. Okay? But we've also heard all these things about how Pedro's Reed and Doom will have the traditional comic book history. So now all of the sudden, if you go back to that leak, which we're going to talk about, like full Doomsday leaks, full Secret Wars leaks in just a minute. So we're going to probably talk about this exact thing more in just a bit here. But this idea that Doom is from the Fantastic Four universe lines up with him and Reed having the traditional comic book thing, but we know he must have left the universe, number one, because of the flag, but number two, because of all the leaks that talk about the multiversal knowledge that Doom has. Okay? The multiversal knowledge that Doom has. So, if you think about it, then it's probably the case that Doom on 828 makes some kind of a discovery, whether that's an incursion or just of the multiverse in general. Because remember, even Reed was thinking about other realities and dimensions. He says it in the Fantastic Four thing when we're doing the Future Foundation scene with all the kids. He's got it on the board. It's clearly something he's thinking about. So Victor may be doing the same, maybe has some kind of interaction. Maybe Victor has a dream when Tony Stark dies. Wouldn't that be interesting? And then maybe Victor in that universe leaves that world. Now, going back to Alex's thing here, you know, Shine is still saying that there's an experiment, that Doom is in a different universe and has an experiment. And that's when he loses his family. And I believe that's still in the Doomsday leaks that we're about to go over, the plot leaks that John Campea has popularized recently. So he leaves and goes to a different universe. Now, I think this is probably set up to feel very similar to what the Scarlet Witch did. Okay? Because if you think about it, Wanda kind of has a tough go of things. And then when she looks out of the multiverse and sees that there are all these versions of herself where she's happier and she has her kids and she's fine, she gets like bitter, dude. And she's looking for a universe where her kids are at that she can then go to. And she wants to use America Chavez's power to actually physically go to that universe, not just astral project or dream walk into that body, but no, actually physically go into that universe, which we've seen other people do this too. In the What If show, which I think I only really watched like the first season, to be honest. I think I watched a little bit of season 2, but no, we finished season 2 and it was terrible. Okay, anyway, in season 1, there's a Black Widow that is taken to a universe where Black Widow like died. And even Nick Fury says something like, "You're not my Natasha," or something like that, I think, at the end of it. So this isn't like a crazy out of nowhere idea. It is also rumored to be exactly what Steve Rogers does. So apparently Steve Rogers is going to, he attempts to go back in time and just live on a branch reality with Peggy, which because of time travel, we know he's not actually on 616, right? He would have to be in a branch reality unless they're changing the rules like that. And Loki apparently comes to Steve and says, they're going to prune this reality. Like this universe that you're in, they're going to prune, let me move you off here or whatever. Doom will later claim that that caused an incursion that maybe wiped out his family. But do you see what's going on here? All kinds of characters are waking up to the idea that out there in the multiverse is a parallel universe that would be better for them. There's a version of a life out there that would be better than the one they have. Steve Rogers makes this choice. Wanda Maximoff makes this choice. That Black Widow from the What If show makes this choice. Doctor Doom makes this choice. Pretty interesting. Okay, now, does that then mean that Doom leaves that universe and goes to a different universe where he can be married to Sue Storm? Is he jealous of Reed? Does he pick it specifically because Reed's out of the picture? Is it 838 because Reed's out of the picture on that universe or world? Like, you see what I mean? Like, it's kind of interesting. I don't really know, guys. I would imagine he probably does go all over the multiverse. I guess they'd have to explain why he stops in a certain one and why he marries Sue and why he has a kid and all of that sort of stuff. And I guess, is any of that real? Because that's older leak stuff. It seems like what Alex has said is that that was originally the path that was going to be explored, and now they've changed it, which is wild. Like, they be changing a lot of things in these movies, and I think, you know, even when we go over the leaks in just a minute here, we're going to talk about how that changes things. But overall, this makes sense. You know what I mean? Good on Alex for admitting that he was wrong and coming out and kind of clarifying the truth. It seems like Doctor Doom is indeed from 828. He will have actual history from college with Doom, or with Reed and Sue. And those leaks that Jeremy Conrad said, which kind of involved this scene at the Baxter Building where Johnny and Ben are at a baseball game, and then they come to the Baxter Building, and it's Doom, and it's Sue, and it's Reed. And they say, we all know each other, we're old friends, Victor's here to help, you know, etc. Seems like all that shit makes a lot more sense now. Victor is from 828. Wow. What a world. Chat, what do you think? Does this really shake things up, or you think like this was maybe obvious? What, chat, what do you think? Ooh, yeah, that's true. Spider-Man 2099 makes this choice and destroys that universe. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. We've seen a lot of this, huh? How much has this changed your theory about Doom? Oh, no, it doesn't change my theory about Doom at all. So in my theory, I don't know if I would describe him as Prime Doom, but my theory is that Tony Stark is the main Doom. Tony Stark is the main Victor Von Doom. All the other Tonys are variants of him, or rather, all the other Dooms are variants of the original Doom. The one in 828 is having an experience more similar to the original actual story that Victor Von Doom had. My wife now says, shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Thanks, Josh. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. You know, I do sort of wonder if they're changing Doctor Doom in order to satisfy fans a little bit more. This is actually something that was out there. I think even Rob talked about this, where he said he had heard that they were making changes to the Doctor Doom origin to actually satisfy fans. Now, in my opinion, this is a fine change. I have zero problem with this change, because any version of Doom out in the multiverse can become aware of what the truth of the sacred timeline was and of the Prime universe. Any Doom could become the Doom above all if they had that knowledge and they go on some kind of, you know, journey or whatever to become more powerful. Yes. Yes. His wife can just be Pepper and the kid Morgan. Like, why would the family die in another universe if Steve in 828 and Doom wasn't? Well, first of all, I didn't write the fucking thing. I'm just telling you what has been reported by many insiders and many people. Could his wife and them be Pepper? Yeah, for sure. That's just like, that's never been out there. That's never been leaked. I'm not saying it couldn't be real, but what that would mean is that, like, whatever that is just super well hidden, and maybe they filmed other stuff to throw people off. Like, technically, maybe, yeah. But if you're asking me why it would be Sue, from a story perspective, the reason it would be Sue is because they're trying to replicate something that was done in the Hickman Secret Wars. In the Hickman Secret Wars, when we just go to Battleworld, Victor has Reed's family. Not an alternate version of them, his actual family. His actual family. And although they never like hit you over the head with why, the subtext of why is obvious, because Victor views Reed as a version of himself that instead of suffering had a lot of stuff handed to him, and he sees all the things that Reed has as things that he should rightfully have. So in the book, they kind of just establish it that way. I think what they're going to do in the MCU is make it so Victor's in this timeline. He wakes up to the reality of the multiverse. He decides to go out, just like Wanda, he decides to go out into the multiverse and find what he really wants. What does he really want? Reed's family. So he goes out to the multiverse and finds it and gets it and actually falls in love, actually has a child and is like digging it. And then an experiment happens, maybe because of the incursion, maybe just because of like the collapsing of the multiverse. And an experiment happens and he loses his child, he loses his son. And so then in addition to that, what that allows them to do in Doomsday is bond Reed and Sue to Victor. Because Victor will consider Franklin something like a surrogate son. Oh, and by the way, he's actually going to take him as his real son, new son, for Secret Wars. Okay, so it kind of goes like this. He's from 828, jealous of Reed. Leaves 828, goes to a place where he can have Reed's family. Something goes wrong, he loses that family. Comes back to 828, and he's like, well, the next best thing to the family that I had is the one that you originally had, Reed, which is why I wanted the one that I wanted. So I'm going to kill everybody, resurrect your family on Battleworld, and now they're my family. It's not that complicated. You know what I mean? It's really not. I fear mainstream people will find a way to convolute with only people who know Doom's backstory of the comics will find all of this intriguing. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Like, just don't be afraid of that. What? Why would you be afraid of that? Why? Will you see Tony's daughter Morgan in Doomsday? Wonder how they will cover up Pepper Morgan. Yeah, I'm interested in that too. I don't really know. Yes. This sounds nothing like Doom. Yes, it does, motherfucker. Did I not just explain how one of the greatest stories ever told by one of the greatest comic book writers ever told with Jonathan Hickman, which was quintessential Doctor Doom, are the themes that they are playing on? Is this thing on? That sounds nothing like Doctor Doom. You're unqualified. Back to the back of the room. Put your hand down. It's exactly like Doctor Doom. Holy shit. I'm worried how normies. I got fuck the normies. Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway, that'll do on that one. Yeah. It seems too complicated. The MCU usually keeps it more simple. The MCU usually keeps it more simple, really. They did a time heist that breaks the conventional way every other movie has handled time travel. They go back to their own universes, their own movies, to do a nostalgia flip book experience fun. Come back, bring everybody back from the blip. Thanos comes back through time, says he's going to destroy the whole fucking universe. And they have this epic battle at the end of time where they've brought everybody through the portals and they defeat Thanos, snap to destroy him, and everybody was gone and blip for 5 years. They keep it simple? What the fuck are you talking about? The universe decided to literally put into its canon a snap, a destroyed of half the life in the fucking universe, and then they come back. Imagine, like, that's not simple. The MCU doesn't keep it simple. What are you talking about? Holy shit. All right, I'm going to go into the next room and scream into a pillow. You guys are going to make me lose it. I'm trying to lead with love today. I'm trying to lead with love. Don't you understand? Don't you understand that my Uranus is in retrograde? I'll be right back. Okay, all right. Hey, we're all having a great time. You know what I mean? Hey, we're all having a great time. Everybody's being real chill, and I'm being super nice to everybody. You know what I mean? It's like I literally, you guys pay my salary, and without the support that you give me, like, I'd be serving at Baskin Robbins or some shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, definitely don't want to rage out on everything that you bring up and say that all of it's wrong and that you're dumb and okay. Should we talk about the Kempia? Should we talk about the leaks? Or do you want to fight about this a little bit more? Do you motherfuckers want to fight a little bit more about this shit? Rossi says, what's Heather's angle in all of this? 45 degrees. Doug Ditch says, Josh, what are your thoughts on mountain goats? I gotta be honest with you. I don't think I've given many thoughts about mountain goats, but now that you've asked, fuck mountain goats, okay? Name calling is the first example that you've lost an argument. Oh yeah, Dave! I mean, yeah, you're probably right. You really did milk this shit. Oh my God, the fucking milk guy's still here? The fucking milk guy's still here? Yeah, we did milk it a little bit, didn't we? Guess what? I got nipples. Can you milk me? Honestly, the Secret Wars leak seems ass. I suspect they leaked it themselves to see the reaction because the ending was hot garbage. Well, we'll get into it, and I'll let you know my opinion. I actually didn't even read the leak yet because I wanted to have a surprise. So thanks for spoiling the spoilers. Frickin' butthole. Okay, now is everybody okay? Are you guys okay? I didn't yell at you too much. I'm trying to lead with love today. Bro, what source is Yelena cracking Spider-Man in the movie? I mean, why has she got to be cracking him? Why can't he be cracking her? You know what I mean? Why can't we have some mutual crackage? Crack one, crack two. Are we okay? Hey, I didn't like your comment about Dr. Doom, The Exodus. I didn't like the way you said it wasn't like Dr. Doom, even though it is like Dr. Doom, and I had just made the point that it was. All right, let's get into this shit before I have a fucking aneurysm. Seriously. Okay, so John frickin' Campia out here trying to ruin the Marvel movies as much as possible or something. John, on his show yesterday, which is called John Campia Show, John Campia yesterday was talking about a little leakage and a little rumors there. Now, here's the thing. This made big waves because people watch John for some reason. And, you know, he had talked about how months ago, he was given a lot of information about Avengers Doomsday, okay? And out of nowhere, he brought up this leak, which had happened months ago. We've already been over this leak. We already went over this leak months ago. But John just figured it out, or maybe James Gunn CC'd it to him or some shit. I don't know. But for whatever reason, John has now decided to confirm that the leaks from the peeps that shared the streets, I shouldn't have committed to the right, because months ago John was told by people a lot about Doomsday, and it lines up with this leak. He's now decided to say, hey, here's this leak. It lines up with all the other shit that I was told. Okay, but I gotta say, couple of things here, couple of caveats. First of all, I think a lot of shit has changed. As we talked about, this was months ago, guys. Man, this was months ago when this leak came out, and it's all based upon the first version of the movie. Quite literally, this is principal photography, maybe a few things alluded to that have been done at the reshoots, but this doesn't include the shooted stuff. Okay, it's not the reshoot, it's the pre-shoot. And they're going to make a lot of changes. So I thought what would be fun is to go over this leak, which is, again, months old, and we can talk about what parts we still think are going to be in the movie. I'm going to tell you about what I think is going on, and also, too, let me say one more thing about this. This leak, if it's the one I think it is the least charitable, worst version of the leak. Literally, there were two versions of this leak that came out. The one that Jeremy Conrad put out, I felt, was much more fair and much more badass. This one literally seems to come from somebody like a My Time to Poop on the Floor, somebody that wants to undercut the movie, somebody that doesn't want nerds like me to have big time fun. I'm being 100%. I want you to, I seriously want you to think about that. You might be skeptic of this leak. That's fine. But I want you to understand that whoever wrote this leak, I imagine, wrote it in a way to make it look as bad as possible. Now, maybe they just really didn't like what they saw. Maybe they didn't like what they heard. And so that's coming across in what they wrote. Either way, this is probably negatively slanted, but it doesn't fucking matter, because I'm going to rewrite history. I'm going to tell you where it's wrong. I'm going to tell you why you should be excited about it. I'm going to tell you all the glorious things to come in Avengers Doomsday. Okay, are you ready? Hey, Chad, are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, I did forget to do shorts. Well, that's your fault too, Chad. All right, here we go. This appears to be the leak, okay? Here we go. Avengers Doomsday opens in New York City on Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man Earth. He's fighting Deadpool and Wolverine, who were sent there with a planet-killing bomb built by Beast to destroy Tobey's world in order to save their universe from an incursion. Tobey battles Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, who managed to plant the device. Wolverine stays behind when it detonates, and both he and Tobey Spider-Man, along with everyone on that Earth, are killed. Deadpool escapes and returns to his own Earth, which we see in the distance. Charles Xavier watches the destroyed world below with sadness, but they had no choice. Oh, okay, so this is a little bit different than the one. This is actually a little bit different. Wait. Is this the one John... Can I just get a double check here? Is this the one John went over? Is this the one that John went over? Can we get a clarification on that? Because this is slightly different than the one that we saw before. Okay, cool. So, couple of different things that we can add to this, okay? So, number one, Alex described this first scene as, like, absolutely fucking nuts, dude. He described it as like a sandbox, toy box, super big adventurous thing. We've also heard that Tobey's villains will be in this scene. So a little bit of what Nerderotic said is also true with Doc Ock, maybe even a Norman Osborn. We're not really sure, but it seems like this is Tobey's world. There will be these characters, and it's just going to be like absolutely incredible. Okay, now Deadpool and Wolverine specifically, okay, there's something really interesting that was added to this, where Cryptic basically said recently that their Earth, Deadpool's and Wolverine's, was probably one of the many in the chain that were destroyed by this group of X-Men, because he says otherwise they wouldn't be working with these X-Men. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that the Wolverine in this scenario here, he is not from that X-Men universe. He's the one we met in Deadpool and Wolverine. That's Deadpool. He's the one from Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay. So they're forced to work for this group of X-Men. And it's implied that this group of X-Men has something over their head. Now, it says in this leak here that Deadpool is sent back to his own Earth, which we see in the distance. I don't know about that, because it kind of seems like from what Cryptic said, that Earth was destroyed. Or maybe the X-Men have made a deal and they're like, we'll save your world for last, or we won't destroy your world if you help us destroy these other worlds. Not really sure, but it seems like this X-Men squad, super dark, super twisted. According to Shine, they have killed countless other Earths. The bomb that Beast has made is this big, crazy antimatter bomb, which is really, really interesting. But yeah, so it seems like Deadpool and Wolverine are sent to Toby's world. They're kind of like mercenaries. They have to work for the X-Men. There's going to be a lot of fighting going on. Maybe it'll be Deadpool that's fighting against the villains. We've also heard maybe Magneto's involved in this too. That's not in this leak. But it's important because, again, this leak is said in I think in like the most negative way that it possibly can be. And it still sounds cool to me. But I'm telling you, from what I've heard about this scene and the pieces I'm putting together, this opening is going to be all time, dude. This opening is going to be all time. It's going to be shocking. We're going to see some of the villains. We're going to see Toby. He's going to be fighting against Wolverine. And then really importantly, the bomb will be planted and Toby and Wolverine both will be killed. What that really means is they blow up with the planet. Now, we know from other leaks and things of that nature that they're not dead. They're going to pop back up on Secret Wars. Okay? They might be dead and they're resurrected by Doom. And maybe because they were in between worlds, when they're resurrected by Doom, the spell doesn't work on them or something. Because it seems like a lot of people in Secret Wars are going to have their minds erased and they're basically going to be like NPCs on Battleworld. And we'll talk more about Secret Wars because there's a whole ass leak for that in a second here. But yeah, so I just want to explain a little bit more of the context with that because that's really cool. Charles watches the destroyed world below with sadness, but they had no choice. That makes sense. We cut to Tony's funeral. Steve speaks with some of the heroes, including Ant-Man, before returning the stones. He goes back in time and chooses to stay with Peggy. They have a son, Jim. One day, Loki visits them. Okay, so let's stop for a second. This new scene with the funeral, I heard about this too. I heard about this. Don't know for sure that it's real, but I've heard about this. And it's going to be a big focus with Scott Lang and Steve. I think the reason Scott's important is because he's one of the people that time traveled himself and understands time travel a little bit more. So Steve's going to try to like get a sort of lesson on time travel from Ant-Man. But I also think it's going to be important because Scott will be one of the people that knows what Steve was trying to do. And of course, right, they're at the end there on the time platform with Hulk and they're sending him there or whatever, but this allows Scott Lang to be a person that knew what was going on. And I think the funeral scene is cool because it's really going to anchor us back to that time where Tony first died. Okay, so I like that. Okay, let's see here. Goes back in time, chooses to stay with Peggy, has a son, Jim. One day, Loki visits them. This is before Loki season 2 finale. That's important. He tells Steve about the TVA and warns him that they will soon prune this timeline because Steve was never meant to live there or have a son. Loki offers them a way out. He can take them to a universe where they don't exist and can live in peace, the Fantastic Four's universe. Before leaving, Loki gives Steve a special card to contact him. Steve and his family lived there for 10 years. When we see Dr. Doom visiting Sue and Franklin, they clearly know each other. Okay, let's stop because that feels like it's connected to the other thing, but it's not. So we've heard a lot about this scene with Loki, and there are a lot of questions. Like, I think the dialogue in this scene really important. Tom Hiddleston has actually already spoken about how his part in this movie was incredible, and I think it's just this scene here. And I think Hiddleston was surprised and shocked by the contents of this scene and what it sets up for the rest of the movie. And It is really interesting. Now, there's like a really bad way to interpret this thing, and then there's a really good way to interpret this thing. So I believe this is happening as Loki is time slipping towards the end and trying to discover everything he possibly can about the multiverse. And I think he's actually starting to put together a sort of plan of what he will need to do. And so I think him contacting Steve, moving Steve, and giving Steve the card is a part of something that will pay off later on in the movie. And I think it'll connect to Loki having some knowledge of how the future was going to go and why Steve would be important to that. I think he sends Steve to that universe for a very important reason. Okay, so then this is the next part. So it says here, when we see Doctor Doom visiting Sue and Franklin, that's the post-credit scene. They clearly know each other. Doom says he has come to speak with Reed. He warns about the incursions and reveals their universe is next. He proposes a plan, but they must travel with him to Earth 616. Doom also asks Reed whether it's possible somebody from another universe is living in theirs. Now, let's stop for a second. So, we've heard about this. Jeremy Conrad went into further details about this scene. And this is important because although this seems to be an accurate plot leak, it's leaving shit out. It's leaving out that the way this scene's going to go is Johnny and Ben are at a baseball game. The alarm goes off. They rush back to the tower, and then it's Sue, Reed, and Doom all there together, and they convince Johnny that they know each other and they're old friends from college or whatever. Now, yeah, there's probably also going to be a scene where we extend from the Sue thing, where Doom says he's there to talk to them, and he is going to explain the incursion thing. So how does Doctor Doom know that the incursions are happening? And how does Doctor Doom know that if there's somebody else from a universe that doesn't belong there, it could cause an incursion to happen more rapidly? It probably has to do with the fact that Victor himself went to live in another universe, which is going to be explored later on, and that him not belonging to that universe is likely what caused an incursion to happen. So that's like his whole thing, okay? So he's going to be like, is there a way to find a person that doesn't belong in this timeline? They set up a device. It finds Steve Rogers, okay? Steve has been living there for 10 years. He has a son, okay? So they go there, they find him, discover the anomaly. It's Steve and his family. They confront Steve, who recognizes them after living there for a decade. The Fantastic Four, he recognizes them. They explain the incursions and ask him to come to 616 to help them convince the Avengers to trust Doom's plan. They travel there, and Steve successfully persuades the heroes to listen. Next, they visit the X universe, but the X-Men are hostile. They survived multiple incursions and trust no one. Kind of love that, okay? They assume the MCU heroes, the Fantastic Four, have come there to destroy and attack. Reed and Doom explain their solution to build massive cannons on each Earth that will permanently separate the universes and stop the incursion. So let's just kind of go through this, okay? So Doom's there. We know that from the Fantastic Four universe. Doom has knowledge of the incursions. Doom has all sorts of trinkets, and he has explored the multiverse at great lengths. We know that from leaks and things from Alex Perez. He comes back into this universe. He says, Sue, their incursions are real. It could happen next. I don't want them to happen to this planet. I can help save them. I need Reed's help. Let's try to find if there are any anomalies here. They find that Steve's an anomaly. They're going into 616. Steve is useful because he's going to convince the 616 heroes to help them. They go into the X-Men universe, but the X-Men universe doesn't trust them at first. That's why there's going to be a big fight, a conflict, but eventually they're going to have a conversation, okay? And eventually Doom is going to explain what the plan is. And the plan is to set up these things on the last 3 remaining Earths, which are like cannons, or you can think of them as field generators or something like that. And the whole idea is he's going to kind of pocket, bubble, protect, and permanently separate these 3 universes so they can't collide and there's no more incursions, okay? So, proposes a plan. They must travel with him to 616. They blah, blah. They travel there. Steve successfully persuades the heroes to listen. Now, here's the thing, right? why would Steve listen to Doom? Why would Steve listen to Doom? Does anybody know why? Can you please explain Deadpool and Wolverine again? Are they the same ones from Deadpool, Wolverine, or different? I didn't understand you. These appear to be the exact Deadpool and Wolverine from the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. When they are done with that movie, they go to live on Deadpool's new universe, which seems like it's a revamped version of Deadpool's world, which is no longer going to die. Okay? They are not just on the world with the Fox X-Men. And so what Cryptic said is it's probably the case that their universe is destroyed by the X-Men. And those X-Men are forcing Deadpool and Wolverine to work for them. Now, why would they do that? Maybe they grab up some of their loved ones, grab them, and destroy the planet, but say like, hey, we'll also destroy your loved ones if you don't help us out or something like that. Like that could be something. Not really sure. Well, maybe Victor showed Steve his face, but I don't think so, because why would he tell the other heroes that he is Tony? Right. So here's my explanation, okay? Steve goes to live in another universe, and he's told by Loki that that universe is going to be pruned by the TVA. They move Steve into the Fantastic Four universe, okay? But there are incursions that happen. Basically, like if that universe wasn't pruned, it would cause incursions. So ipso facto, if that universe is not pruned, it causes an incursion and maybe destroys itself in another reality. And there's some indication that maybe that's what happens to Dr. Doom's universe that he goes to, okay? There's this thing that Alex Perez said where he said, Peggy will be on Team Doom, but she's on Team Doom because she believes Victor could actually help undo some of the damage in the multiverse, including maybe bring people back that died in incursions. And she feels somewhat responsible because the decision that her and Steve made to go live by themselves probably caused an incursion, right? So I think Steve will have some guilt about the decision he made. I think Loki will explain to him that nothing you do is without consequences, and the consequences from you making that decision are going to be bad. And so I think Steve will feel this sort of guilt and this responsibility to work with Doom because Loki almost mentally prepares him that some bad shit's coming. And in fact, like maybe Loki literally says that. Maybe Loki says to him like, hey, I'm moving you, Steve, and I'd love for you to be able to retire, but the battle's not over. Eventually, you'll be needed again, and the battle will be more important than any battle we've ever had. Here's a card if you ever need to get a hold of me. Like, you know what I mean? So there's a number of ways that it could make sense. Given some of the context from some of the other leaks, I'm inclined to believe it's going to be set up by Loki's dialogue when he first encounters Steve, which sort of sets him up for an expectation that otherwise, why would he give him the card, right? He gives him the card because shit's going to happen, right? So Steve's almost like ready. So it's almost like when Doom and Reed show up to Steve's house, you could almost see him saying like, it was only a matter of time, I suppose. It's almost like he's expecting it. That's like my interpretation anyway. How do they explain Steve living in another universe for 10 years without causing an incursion? So there's a couple of different ways they could do it. They could actually say that he is causing incursions. Maybe Loki fucked up. Maybe Loki put him in there because he knew incursions would happen anyway. So maybe he is causing incursions. In fact, maybe Steve living in 828 caused the incursion that killed Doom's family. I don't know. Another way they could explain it is like, oh, well, they were stopping them. Maybe they were pruning the ones that were coming in to protect this individual timeline. I'm not really sure. I probably lean on it was causing incursions. That's what I think. It probably was causing incursions. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's a good question. Shield bubbles, aka suits of armor around the world. Yeah, a little bit. That makes sense to me. Okay, let's keep going though. Incursions, blah, blah, blah. Doom explains the solution. Build massive cannons. By the way, this is a shot in the trailer where they're explaining in Avengers Tower, or maybe it's the Baxter building, with the 3 separate Earths. That was in the trailer from CinemaCon. Okay, so then they go to the X-Men universe. The X-Men universe think they're hostile. They eventually convince them of the plan, though. So they split up into different teams. One will go to another Earth and place the cannon there. Meanwhile, Steve tells Thor he met a Loki who is still alive. Thor asks Steve to take him to him using Loki's card. They locate the TVA, but when they arrive, everyone is dead, and Loki has had his heart ripped out. Oh, my God. I heard about that shit too. That heart ripped out thing I think is real, guys. I heard about that a long time ago. So that's pretty crazy. Okay, so that would imply that like in the middle of all this shit, while they're trying to set this up, Steve says to Thor, hey buddy, like just so you know, there's a version of Loki, seems like our Loki, that's still alive. He helped me out, and he also gave me this, which we assume maybe is a TemPad, right? He gave me this card. So then Loki and Steve show up to the TVA, and we've seen shots of this too, because some of the destroyed TVA was leaked. Some of the images, yeah. Better not fucking kill Loki off screen. Chill out. Hey, chill out. Your goddamn fans are always so butthurt about everything. Just relax. So they're gonna get in there, and everybody's dead, and Loki has his heart ripped out. Damn, dude. That is tough titties, man. I wonder how Thor's going to react to that. That's crazy. They realize that Doom is responsible. Holy shit. Okay, this is where it's going to start to get really fucking spoilery, guys, okay? This is where it's going to start to get really, really spoilery, okay? They realize that Doom's responsible. Steve goes back to confront Doom, who reveals his true plan to allow the incursions to happen so that he can rebuild the multiverse in his own image and resurrect his dead family. He takes Steve to his castle in Latveria on his Earth. There, Steve meets Doom's followers, the Masked Witches. One of them impersonates Peggy to manipulate him. Doom reveals that Steve's presence in the universe is what triggered their incursion, because he didn't belong there. It's also led to the death of Doom's family. Doom became obsessed with stopping the incursion, conducting dangerous experiments, one of which failed, killing his family and leaving him disfigured, forcing him to wear the armor and the mask. As revenge, Doom kills Steve's son in front of him. Oh my God! Doom announces that the Avengers are coming, and Latveria prepares for war. The Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and the X-Men unite and march on Latveria. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot, brother, okay? So, they go to the TVA to try to find Loki. Loki's dead, everybody is dead, and they realize that it's Doom. Intense. They then realize, as all of this stuff is happening with all the plans and they're splitting everybody up, Doom's real plan is to let the incursions happen so that everybody dies and so he can resurrect them and build the multiverse in his own image. Okay. And also, he takes Steve to his castle. Now, this leak says that somebody impersonates Peggy. The only way that could be true is if it's like Mystique or something like that. And all the other leaks that we've heard suggest that it actually is Peggy. All the other leaks that we've heard suggest that it is actually Peggy. Okay? Okay, now, again, you just asked about the incursion stuff. It seems like it's explained via this leak that Doom's universe was destroyed, or rather, Doom's family was destroyed because of the incursions that Steve was causing because he was on the Fantastic Four world and he shouldn't have been. I think it's his Peggy. Okay. Now, This is just my speculation. So I want to be very clear here because I think even this is not real. I think this is what they shot. I think this is what they shot in principle. I think that a lot of people, even people that worked on a movie, think this is real. But I don't think this is exactly it. Okay? My belief here, and you can kind of see this already, right? But what Doom is claiming is that he was experimenting to do anything to stop the incursions. And the incursions are Steve's fault. He was obsessed with fixing them. And in his obsession, he was trying dangerous experiments. And oh my God, the experiment goes wrong. And it destroyed his family and caused him to go under the mask. Okay? But I think the truth is Victor realized he couldn't stop the incursions unless he had ungodly levels of power. And I think he decided that the best way to do this, to gain this power, was to actually sacrifice the family that he had. Okay? Now, it's possible that even in this moment where he's talking to Steve, he's lying about that. He's saying to Steve in that moment that I was trying to stop that. I had experiments going on and it killed my family and it's your fault. And I'm just trying to save everything and pick everything together. That could absolutely be what it is. But my gut tells me that that's not what it is. My gut tells me that no. Instead, what Victor did was realize that the multiverse was bullshit. And when he realized that the multiverse was bullshit, what he was actually doing was trying to destroy the bullshit multiverse and make a new multiverse in his image. I mean, why would the guy, if he's just sad about his family being destroyed, why can't he figure out a different way to bring his family back? Why does he need everything to be destroyed? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why would he? That doesn't even make sense. So what I think is going on is he actually found out that the whole multiverse is a lie. He actually found out that his own prime variant in the sacred timeline was made to be a hero, and he hated it so much that he decided he wanted to destroy every fucking thing and rebuild it. And then this is where, because this is the other thing that's going on. This is a theory. This is just a theory. I think he's going to kill Steve's kid in front of him. And I think at first Steve's going to freak out. But I think before the movie is over, Steve will help Doom. I think Steve will be convinced by Doom that if he serves him on Battleworld, that Victor could bring his son back to life on Battleworld. And I think that will explain how or why we get a Hydra Captain America that's in Doom's court, that's working for Doom in Secret Wars. That's just a theory, okay? But I feel like that's the way you cook here. Because think about it like this. Why would Doom be willing to sacrifice his own kid and Sue in a different universe? Because he doesn't even think that they're real and he thinks he can just resurrect them anyway. So he's going to do the same thing as Steve. He's going to be like, hey, here you go. Boom. I'm killing your kid. There's power in killing your kid. And we can use that power to recreate the universe and bring your kid back anyway. And that, I think it's before it's all said and done, I think Steve will say yes. Another thing that just happened and came out was that Shine said that in this movie, Dr. Doom is obsessed with Steve Rogers, obsessed with him. And if you look to the comics and you look to like, why would Doom and Captain America be these like opposite forces? It's because Doom is an authoritarian. He's a tyrant. He uses fear to control people. His name is literally Doom for that purpose. And Steve is the guy that no matter what, against all the odds, no matter how much tyranny, no matter how much it looks like they could never win, he will always stand up for the little guy. He will stand up for freedom. I can do this all day. He's antithetical to everything Doom is trying to do. Doom's trying to use fear and a loss of hope to just have people hit their knees and be completely subservient to him. And Captain America is the exact opposite of that. So I think when Shine says that Doom is obsessed with Captain America, I think he's obsessed with the fact that Steve Rogers was actually the catalyst for his own variant actually becoming heroic. Yes, Kang set him up to be adopted by the Stark. Kang set him up to be Tony Stark, but he still would have been evil. In fact, we see Tony Stark in the Infinity Saga almost be evil several times. What stops him from being evil? Who is the character that caused Doom Stark in the Infinity Saga to actually become a hero by the end? It's Steve Rogers. And so I think Doom realizes that in order for his universe to not have that happen, in order for his universe to not have the threat of a Steve Rogers that will always, try to overthrow him no matter what, is to get Steve to agree to be evil, to be in his court, to work for him. And how could he ever get Steve to agree to that? Use the death of his child. That's speculation. But that's what I think is going on, okay? So anyways, let's keep going here. One of them impersonates Peggy to manipulate him. I think it's actually Peggy. Doom reveals that Steve's presence in their own universe is what triggered their incursion because he didn't belong there. That also led to the death of Doom's family. Doom became obsessed with stopping the incursion, conducting dangerous experiments, one of which failed, killing his family and leaving him disfigured, forcing him to wear the armor and the mask. As revenge, Doom kills Steve's son in front of him. Doom announces that the Avengers are coming and Latveria prepares for war. The Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and the X-Men unite and march on Latveria. Thor prays to Odin, who sends an army from Valhalla to join the battle. A massive war erupts, and the Earths begin to collide. Eventually, the Earths crash into each other and are destroyed, killing everyone except Doom. It's revealed he stole Loki's powers. Using them, he creates Battleworld, resurrects everyone, erases their memories. They believe Battleworld is all there has ever existed. We will see them living their new lives on this false reality. Doom sits on his throne as Emperor of Battleworld. The end. Yeah, so I think all of that's generally true, but I think there's a lot more to it, So this leak is accurate, but it's leaving a lot of stuff out. I think there's still changes that Marvel's hiding, even from these leaks. But I do want to know what you guys think. Now, there's a lot of Reddit-brained people or maybe just contrarians or people that are just, a little bit more apt to hate it or whatever. A lot of people are talking shit on this plot leak. I mean, I think this plot sounds awesome. And from a character perspective, I completely understand what they're going for. However, one of the things that's missing from this entire movie and the plot that doesn't come across in this text is that you will know that Doom is evil. You will know that Doom is the bad guy. And so the entire movie, there's going to be this tension as he tricks other characters, as he lies to other characters, as he manipulates everybody around him, as he pulls pieces together, sets things in motion, and then eventually flips on everybody. You will have an experience similar to when you watch the prequels and you saw Emperor Palpatine. Okay? Emperor Palpatine is obviously the Emperor. He's going to be the bad guy. He flips Vader. He's like everything that's wrong. And yet we watch him throughout the course of the prequel trilogy start to just slowly do some machinations here and there, Start to slowly bring things together. And there's a tension that's created in scenes with him and Yoda, in scenes with him and Mace Windu, in scenes with him and Anakin. And so I think with that tension hanging over this movie, all of these things will make a little bit more sense. And, him going to the TVA and seeing it's destroyed and Loki's dead and Loki's heart is ripped out and all that sort of stuff. Does it suck that Loki dies off screen? Yeah. Does it make sense that Loki died off screen? I think it will, but let's wait and see. So with that being said, chat, what do you make of these plot leaks? What do you think? Cool? Not cool? awesome, terrible? What do you think? Chat. What about the Sentinel part? Like, will that be early on in the movie? Will they have doubts about the traitor? So the Sentinel scene that was leaked is a little bit misleading. And I think probably misleading on purpose. That scene is likely going to happen when they first encounter the X-Men. When they first go to the X-Men. It's possible that it happens later on when they're setting up the cannons on the X-Men universe and then they find out that Doom is, bad or whatever. But I would assume that happens early on when they go to confront the X-Men. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of stuff that's not in here too, right? So we know that we're going to get flashbacks of other universes and see the X-Men like destroying a bunch of other worlds. That's not in this plot leak at all. This leaves out Wakanda and Namor completely. Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot more to this. The Wakanda Namor thing is very likely like in the necropolis where they're all going to meet up and they're probably going to use Wakandan technology and Beast will probably help in order to create those cannons. Does that make sense? And Steve's chatting with Scott. Wait, what? I think I'm missing what you're saying there, bro. Is Doom only introduced 30 minutes into the movie? No, brother. I'm pretty damn sure he's going to be introduced before that. PK 4149 with a $20 holler. Really appreciate it. It says, wouldn't it be wild if they got us all to think that Doom is actually the good guy, similar to the most dictators? They think they're right. I think it'll be interesting if we start to root for Doom. I don't think it's possible for us to not know that he's the bad guy. And I actually like the angle they're taking where they're like, yeah, everybody's going to know he's the bad guy. So let's flip that on its head and let's present him in the plot as the good guy. And we'll all be like, I don't know about that shit. You know what I mean? Like the whole time. I think that's kind of fun. What about Franklin? How old will he be on this? And why does he seem not important at all? They should have made him 18, to be honest. So again, that's something else that's not in this plot. But Franklin, I think, super important to this movie because I think Franklin is essentially the first bit of power that Doom siphons off. I think that's what that experiment was. I think that's maybe potentially even why he's interested in Franklin still. I think it's potentially that they're going to use Franklin's power to open up a portal to come into 616. And I think Doom might have some knowledge of how to use Franklin's power. I think Franklin's powers will then be used in Secret Wars after they repopulate the universe and shit like that. So Franklin, I think, is very important to this whole thing, but not in this leak at all. Does that make sense? I'm tired. Well, have a fucking Red Bull, my guy, because we're about to do the Secret Wars leaks next. Also, I'm tired too. I'm going to have another coffee. Ader Chase says, in any Doomsday final version, Ozempic Joe will take us home. Sing it, Josh. Happy 4th. Yeah. Ozempic Joe, take us home. Ozempic Joe, take us home. Downey Jr. Okay, that's all I got. How is Doom powerful enough to kill Loki before he steals his power? Doom is incredibly powerful, man. He's going to have bits of sorcery. He's going to have magical artifacts. Doom's going to be jacked to the gills and probably using Wanda's power as well. Maybe that's where the Wanda power bit comes in. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Are you trying to tell me Doom's got a cannon? Yes, I am, Rossi. Will he have the power cosmic? I think Loki's power and maybe Wanda's power will replace that. All right, John, let me look at this super chat here. Let me catch up on some super chats. Look here, see? Doom going Heath Ledger approach would be dope. The Joker never told you the same story twice. Yeah, something like that would be cool. I actually like that. In place of Loki's heart, is there simply a card that reads, "My name is Doom"? God, I hope so. God, I hope so. I bet it's Sylvie shapeshifting as Peggy. So I think to make it really have emphasis, it should actually be Peggy. And I think to really fuck with Steve, Peggy should agree in sacrificing their son. But you have to understand that, like, she's sort of under a spell, and she believes, because look, here's another element here. Here's another element of this. This is the same argument that the Gnostics and the Hermetics had when they were trying to decipher what reality actually was. And the Gnostics believed that it was a false reality, that this was made by the demiurge and it's fake and it's stupid and false, and we should try to break free and leave. The Hermetics tended to believe that it was possible to accept that this reality was created from the mind and therefore is a projection or hologram, and perhaps fake, or at least under the control of negative forces. But instead of just disregarding it and moving on into another higher dimension, we should instead try to change this reality. We should instead try to, even though, yes, maybe this isn't purely real, we still exist here, and we love these people, we love our families, and therefore we should try to change this reality. Even Buddhism had a similar idea. Some Buddha beings believed you reach nirvana and then you're like, fuck off, I'm out, peace. But Buddha himself didn't even agree with that. He comes back. You come back from nirvana because you want to lay the groundwork for other people to leave nirvana or to achieve nirvana, right? So there's this philosophical thing that's going on here. And I think at some level, the conversation that's being had in Doomsday and Secret Wars is really like, hey, if Kang or He Who Remains created a false reality, are we justified in forsaking all of that false reality for truth? Or are even the lives of folks in that false reality valid because they actually exist, they actually lived, they are actually our friends, and therefore, instead of disregarding it to go back to Prime, we should improve or adjust and fix the universe that we're in, which, by the way, is exactly what they're going to do, because in the reset, this is why Kevin Feige doesn't even want to call it a reboot, he calls it a reset. The reset, the characters are going to make this exact decision. They will say, no, bring back the MCU, bring back 616, bring back the sacred timeline, even though it's false, bring it out or bring it back, because those people are real, those people matter. Morgan Stark matters. You know what I mean? Like, these people we fell in love with, these people we cared for, the people we saved, they all fucking matter. That's going to be the excuse, that's going to be the explanation for why we only drop several projects and shit from Phase 4 and 5 and generally keep the canon of the 616 sacred timeline. Don't you understand? Don't you understand? Gaia does not matter. You see what I'm saying here? You understand? Heather matters. Duggaditch says, apparently there's something big going on with Ant-Man going forward. Do you think that it's revealed in Doomsday, Secret Wars, or the third movie? Something big with Ant-Man? I don't know about that. I don't know nothing about it. And even if I did, maybe I'm sworn to secrecy. I'm so confused on how will explain the Prime Universe and all that shit without mentioning Kang at all. They'll use the TVA. They'll use maybe even Ravonna. You know what I mean? They'll probably use the TVA, Ravonna, maybe Miss Minutes. You know, maybe Mobius. Yeah. I don't know nothing about it. All right, I'm like a little bit hot. I'm gonna go cool off for a second. Go out into the nice air conditioned house. I'm gonna put on another cup of coffee. Where's my coffee at? Did I make another coffee and not get it? I'm pissed. All right, just hang on. We're next gonna do Secret Wars. I'll catch up on the chats, and then we'll do Secret Wars. Unless you guys are too bored, should we call it there, or should we keep going and do Secret Wars? Malibu Vibe says, finally. Yeah, I was milking it, as the kids say or whatever. All right, I'll be right back. Yeah, dude, y'all got me sweating in here, dog. Whoo! Okay, I'll be right back. Be good. For legal reasons, that was a joke? What? Moldenite, that's probably true, brother. I haven't read a lot of the angsty teen stuff. I mean, I've read a little bit of like bolter porn, some like adolescent stuff with Space Marine stuff, but I'm pretty impressed with the quality. They got some really good writers, man. Hey, yo, Elijah, is this a little hey, wait, hang, Elijah, I'm glad you're here. I told chat earlier that you said I was too judgmental, okay? You said the straight shot was too judgmental. So I moved 3% to the side for 3% less judgment. Do you feel less judged? Do you feel like new people coming in would feel 3% less judged? Let me know. Yeah, Abnett is great. I mean, I like Chris Wright. Dude, fuck. Who's the guy that just did the I'm blanking on the homie's name. He's got such a cool name. He did that Death Watch comic back in the day, that 4-parter or whatever. Bowden, Aaron Dembski Bowden. He's great. He's great. Why is Josh looking so angelic today? Brother, I ain't never been called angelic in my life. Is this, what's going on here? Is that some kind of, are you trying to offend me? I've been called a lot of things, but I ain't never been called angelic. I don't know if I like this. Okay? I'm not trying to get too upset because I'm leading with love today, but them are fighting words where I come from. You look angelic today? Little Dustin Poirier action, man. Yeah. Oh, Blood Angel? Okay, that's better. Josh, is there any chance that what happened to Doom's family is that he sacrifices them in a deal with Mephisto to take power from Loki's back? So I don't think it's him sacrificing to Loki. If anything, I think or to anybody. Maybe you could read Mephisto, but I don't think so. It's more like he did the darkest spell. He did some chaos magic, really. I mean, that's honestly like not to like in real magic, which isn't real, but in what people think is real about magic, what chaos magic actually is creating or using energy or things that create energy and then sort of siphoning them off and using them to transmute things in the material or spiritual world. Okay. And in Marvel, it's not quite like that. Like the chaos magic, like they're doing something with Wanda where it's not sorcery, it's witchcraft, but it's also chaos magic, which breaks rules or whatever. Right. But like in the sense of, actual esoteric beliefs and like, you know, history of magic and how people view this sort of thing. The idea would be the thing you sort of love the most, the thing you have the most attachment to would have the most power if sacrificed. Okay. And so, in the comics, there was the Doom above all, and the Doom above all, just like all the other Dooms, he was in love with Valyria. What a terrible shirt. You don't say that shit to me. Yo, Valrak, I posted a nice little scoop earlier about the VFX studio that's doing Warhammer. You might want to check it out. We'll talk soon. You and I. We'll talk soon. You and I. We'll talk behind the scenes. But you better keep it a fucking secret because it's the Dark Angels, baby! And look at the back. Never forgive, never forget. I'll never forget you. Yeah. I'll post it as a clip tomorrow morning, but I'll let you know too. It's cool. What was I talking about before he interrupted me with the Warhammer shit? Oh, the chaos magic. So look, in the comics, all the victors love Valyria. Not the girl that he names Valyria, not Reed's kid. There was a bombshell-ass babe from Romania. There's this chick back in the day in the little town that became Latveria, and she was a fucking smoke show. She was so hot that Victor was willing to give it all up for her once. Then he was willing to give it all up for her again. And this is after the college shit, man. This is after he gets scarred. He's like all sad and he's hanging out in Eastern Europe. And lo and behold, she shows up again in his life. And he's like, dude, I will give it all up right now because she is so fucking hot. And then you come to realize like, oh, well, she's actually being manipulated and people are trying to get to Victor. And that's what makes him like really fucking cold to the world because he realized like, bro, they almost got me because yes, I love her and I was willing to give shit up. Like they were literally like, they're going to get him. So that's like the normal story for Victor. The Victor from the comics of Avengers Forever and the Doom Above All Dooms, he rips the flesh off of Valyria and makes his suit with her skin. And it's not like he doesn't love her and he's not like the other victors and he's like forsaking her. No, he makes it very clear. He actually loves her the whole time. So as he's ripping her flesh off of her body and she's like screaming and shit, He loves her the whole time. And it's his love for her that makes the sacrifice of her give him ultimate power. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. That shit happened in the comics. So I don't think if he sacrifices his family, then he's probably going to do it like that. He's not going to do it for Mephisto. He's not going to do it for some other person. He's doing it for what you would call equivalent exchange or the chaos magic cost of ultimate power. Yeah, and it is kind of similar to the Soul Stone thing. It is a similar idea, right? Wouldn't that be fucking crazy, man? God damn. Rhythm City RM, appreciate you, brother, with a $20 holla. Thank you. Says, if incursions happen because a person goes into a different universe, who went into Toby's universe from the X-Men universe or vice versa? Let me answer that. Let me take a sip. That's good coffee, man. So there's a couple of different explanations. Somebody in chat had a really cool theory for this recently, where what if it's that they slipped into the Toby's universe and they stole Doc Ock, or they stole the Goblin, or they stole somebody from that universe, and then they held it in the X-Men universe, and that started to trigger the incursion, and then they went into that Earth and fucking destroyed it. Holy shit, that would be brutal. Like, that would be kind of awesome if that's what was going on. It's also possible that that's not the only thing that causes an incursion, and maybe Binary herself or some other force, maybe even Magneto with like electromagnetism or something. Like, maybe there's a way to cause the incursion. It could be the case also that incursions have cascaded to such a degree now that they're happening in an accelerated way, and they don't even need to disrupt the space-time continuum between them because it's already all fucked, right? So they'll probably go with like that second version, but I think the first version would be cold as ice, brother. Like, imagine this. Magneto, Wolverine, and Deadpool floating in the air, and there's Doc Ock in some kind of a thing where he's like chained up in a prison thing, and he's like this, and Magneto just like has him in all the chains, and they're just flying out into the sky, and then you start to see the incursion start to happen, and then it happens, and then Magneto like fucking crushes Doc Ock because he doesn't need him anymore or whatever. Cold-blooded. That's how I would write it. You know what I mean? That's how I would write it. And then maybe even Toby looks up into the sky and he sees them as the thing's opening, and he sees Doc Ock, and he sees how terrified Doc Ock is, and then Magneto rips him fucking limb from limb, and Toby's like, no! Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But I don't know how they're going to do it. Dugaditch says, dreamt I was watching the Secret Wars final battle. An Iron Man variant popped his helmet off, and it was Tropic Thunder RDJ saying, I'm the dude playing the dude, pretending to be another dude. I mean, can you think of a better way to end that movie? I certainly can't. Maybe dreams will come true. Yeah, maybe your dream will come true. All right, where's these Secret Wars leaks? It's time. Somebody in the Discord brought up the Secret Wars leaks. Anybody in chat got the copy pasta for that? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? Bueller? Where's it at? What's going on? Where's the leak? Anybody? Don't worry, I'll find it. I'm almost there. Damn, y'all be yapping in this Discord, man. Holy. Okay, I think I found him. Okay. Save the image. Save the image. Save the image. Save the image. Okay, let's get this set up, ladies and gentlemen, shall we? Now, just like the other one, a lot of backseat drivers complaining about this. You know? These fucking people, man. Let me take a couple more sips of coffee, and then we're going to do this damn thing. Unless you guys are too tired. Are you too tired? Should we just call it? We could do Secret Wars on Monday. Have a happy 4th of July, you know? See you later. You missed my $20 super chat, says Rossi. Okay, let me see. Sorry, bud. I'm late, but this is one of the best stream angles yet. Hell yeah, I'm glad you like it. Is it judgmental enough, though? Rossi says with a $20 holla says, I just wanted to say thanks for being you. Aw, nobody's ever told me that. Everybody tells me I suck. You always make me laugh. You and the community have made my life so much more enjoyable and fun. I've been to places and done things I never thought I would do, like LA, and Avengers for life. No, honestly, brother, I really appreciate it. I want you guys to have a good time. You know what I mean? I really do. I want you guys to have a good time. I, honest to God, for a split second, considered going to the thing and considered hanging out with you guys and having a very good time. Okay? But here's the thing. I fucking hate Star Wars, brother. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking hate Star Wars. And on top of that, like, I'm really fucking busy. Did you notice? Did you notice there's, like, things we're doing? We're trying new things. You know, there's a lot of new things I'm trying. I'm trying to do Warhammer channels. I got to work on Warhammer channels. I got to work on my esoteric channels. I'm talking to the fucking aliens. So no, I can't go. But I love you guys and I hope you have a really good time. Maybe eventually we will all hang out and I'll be able to stomach some Star Wars conversation. You know what I mean? Appreciate you though. Thanks. But what happened to the live show you were going to do with the MCU and how it relates to our reality and the Gnostic text, et cetera, et cetera? Yeah, I think we can still do that, bud. Yeah. Not the aliens again. I know, those pesky aliens, huh? All right, a couple more sips of coffee, and then we're going to talk Secret Wars. You guys see this? I need a better Warhammer figure out here. You see this, Lionel Johnson? Did you see my cool Warhammer shirt? Yeah, we're gonna do a meetup. I mean, right now the plan is the meetup for Secret Wars. Maybe we'll do something before that, but yeah. Do aliens watch TV? They watch this channel. What if most of you guys are aliens? He missed my super chat? Let me see, James. I'm sorry, buddy. No, I didn't. I've always wondered. Okay, yes, I did. Sorry. I've always wondered if Strange casts a spell where everyone forgets Peter, wouldn't that also affect the other Peter Parkers? I've always wondered that. That's a good question. I'm not really sure. Maybe it is. Maybe that'll be in the Secret Wars movie. Put your Dark Angel in the cabinet up front. You know what? I probably should. Or maybe I should go out and get some more Dark Angels, huh? Call the Men in Black. We are the Men in Black. Won't let you remember. Won't let you remember. Yeah. More shelves and cabinets, you think? How would you react if James Gunn took over Warhammer? Brother, they're not going to do that because Cavill's in charge, and Cavill knows exactly what and who James is. And number two, they're not going to do that because I'll fucking time travel if I have to and stop that from happening. I'm not going to I'm not going to let that. We're not going to let that happen. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Get some cool down lighting for the back wall. What does that mean? Cool down lighting. I don't understand what that means. I'm an alien and I watch this channel. Yes, many such cases. All right, lads and lads, let's talk about Secret Wars. So believe it or not, we've got what I think are probably the first revealed leaks for Secret Wars. Now, we're going to go into I haven't even read these. I saw these pop up. I have not checked them out. We're going to go through them together right now. I would imagine a lot of this is going to change, even if it's accurate, right? Because Marvel just about to start shooting this thing. And, you know, they like to shoot it. They like to change the script as they go. They like to do a lot of reshoots, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go through this. And let's see for ourselves if we like or we dislike the leaks for Secret Wars. Also, apparently this count has done some things that are accurate, so we're not just like pulling stuff out of our buttholes here, although my Uranus is in retrograde. I have received an early draft for Secret Wars. I'm sure the usual places will talk about it soon, so I'm going to be first. Here's a short rundown of the plot. A year has passed since Battleworld was formed by Doom. Most of its residents have no idea about the old world, with only a few exceptions. Everyone on Battleworld, whose nature is medieval and feudal, believes it has always existed. Their past lives have been rewritten into roles, barons, rulers, citizens of domains, etc. However, all three Spider-Man remember the old world, as do Namor, the Young Avengers, Vision, She-Hulk, Deadpool, Sadie Sink's Jean Grey, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Reed Richards, and Sentry. They form a resistance after realizing that Doom is not just a ruler, he is the engine of reality itself. Battleworld exists because Doom is actively maintaining it, using Loki's stolen power. Whoa. Okay. So, first off, it claims that all three Spider-Man remember the old world. That's interesting. Namor remembers it. The Young Avengers remember it. Vision remembers it. She-Hulk remembers it. Deadpool, Sadie Sink's Jean Grey, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, Reed Richards, and Sentry. So that would mean that Reed Richards, Sentry, Deadpool, She-Hulk, Vision, the Young Avengers, and Namor are probably all people that survive via the life raft. I would imagine Sadie's Jean arrives separately with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I would imagine Hugh Jackman's Wolverine arrives separately because he's going to arrive with Toby. So that's kind of interesting. It seems like we're looking at some of them. Maybe not. Let's read on. Maybe not. Maybe those are characters that just pop up that happen to remember, right? Okay. They break into Battleworld domains. They split it up and travel through different domains, each acting as a broken patch of an old universe. Such for weakness in Doom's structure, or they search for weaknesses in Doom's structure. Recruit allies who are beginning to glitch, regaining memories or questioning reality. Doom commands an army of Thors with Doctor Strange as his second in command. He also has his coven of witches and, of course, Loki's stolen power. Yelena serves as his third in command, though she has no powers. Sentry is taken and is held captive under lock and key. Another key figure Doom keeps away is Steve Rogers, the only person whose memory he deliberately preserved. Ooh, that's cold as ice. Doom hates Steve and wants him to witness his victory, to see that Doom has won and built a new family while Steve has lost everything. That would be pretty messed up, dude. Like, holy shit. If that's real, that's cold. Instead of directly attacking Doom, the Resistance focuses on turning his forces against him. She-Hulk gathers the Hulks. Deadpool manages to restore Thor's memories. And the Young Avengers unite the mutant population. Tom Holland's Spider-Man rallies New York. Reed Richards gathers the remaining members of the Future Foundation. Meanwhile, Tobey Maguire, Hugh Jackman, and Steve Rogers, who escaped Doom's prison with Yelena, help to set out on a mission to find Loki. Since Doom restored everybody, Loki is alive as well, and he is the only one capable of stealing Doom's power. What? I don't know about this. Also, where's Iron Man? Where's RDJ's Iron Man in this whole thing? This, I don't know. This feels like this could be a little bit fake, but let's keep going. Tobey Maguire, Hugh Jackman, Steve Rogers, who escaped Doom's prison with Yelena's help. Interesting. Maybe. Loki is found in an Asgardian domain that has become a casino, a shady, corrupt versions of Asgard. They encounter Sylvie, Mobius, and other TVA members working in the casino? What? Loki is the manager, but he refuses to believe their story and throws them out? At their lowest point, they discover someone unexpected, Tony Stark. He is a miserable drunk, gambling away his life in the casino, and initially refuses to join them. Eventually, they convince him, and they convince Loki as well. What? So, so Tony would just be at the casino? Weird. At the final battle, armies from across Battleworld gather to storm Doom's castle. Thor and the Hulks fight against an army of Thors, while Sam leads the resistance against the witches, the Doombots, and the rest of Doom's forces. Reed Richards, Yelena, Sue, who now remember everything, Steve Rogers, Hulk, She-Hulk, Tom Holland, Spider-Man, Sentry, Loki, Iron Man, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man all confront Doom directly. Doom overwhelms them, defeating them brutally, and they are all nearly killed. Reed and Sue try to reason with him, telling him he is grieving for his family and that Battleworld is not the answer. He is briefly convinced, but ultimately rejects it and attacks them again. They are saved at the last moment by Toby, Hugh, and Tony, who managed to hold Doom off long enough for Loki to reclaim the stolen power and restore the multiverse. Everything returns to normal. Loki returns to his throne, but not before saying a final goodbye to Thor and his TVA friends. Everyone is sent back to their original universe. Yes, Deadpool, Wolverine, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four return to their own realities to not join the MCU. What this means for the future is unclear. The MCU continues as it was before. The TVA later gets Steve Feige and their son, who's alive again in the new universe, one where they existed but died, preventing any incursions from occurring again. Before leaving, Steve asks the TVA for one last favor. Years later, an older Steve is visited by the TVA. They bring him back to 616 at the end of Endgame so that he can pass the shield to Sam after saying a final goodbye to Sam and Bucky. He returns to the TVA reality where Peggy and his son live. The end. Okay, so, let me think about this, okay? Early draft of Secret Wars. So we have Battleworld. Nobody remembers the past. I think that's correct. The three Spider-Men remember the old world. Maybe that has to do with the spell and Peter. Namor remembers the old world. I would assume he is in the life raft. Young Avengers, they're probably in a life raft. Vision, She-Hulk, Deadpool, probably in a life raft. Sadie Singh's Jean Grey, I think, is going to be with Peter and doing something. Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, he's just going to pop up and remember shit with Toby. Reed Richards and the Sentry, that tracks. They form a resistance after realizing that Doom is not just a ruler, he is the engine of reality itself. Yeah, that tracks. The different domain things being different versions of Marvel stuff, I think that tracks. People starting to glitch, that could make sense. The army of Doom, Thors, and Stephen Strange, that makes sense. Yelena serving as third in command. How do I feel about that? Yeah, I don't know about this, guys. I think this is maybe close. There's no evil Avengers here. There's no King Thanos here. There's no Black Widow that's evil here. There's like basically zero emphasis on Doom and Stark. And I just don't believe that. I think that's going to be a huge part of this movie. So, although there could be some stuff that's real here, I'm going to give this one a little bit of a thumbs down, man. I'm going to give this one a little bit of a thumbs down. There could be some things here that are real, but there's just so much here that I don't think makes enough sense. You know? If this is real, it's missing like all of the context that's going to make a lot of this stuff make sense. Now, I will say, I do think the multiverse is mostly going to be restored at the end of this. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think about this one, chat? Sounds kind of biased. Yeah, this one doesn't sound super great. Josh, you're tripping. I can see Elena rising up to third of command, promising to bring back Natalie or Natasha. Yeah, but like, where's Natasha in the plot leak then? The ending of this is ass. Yeah, the ending is not great because it just tells you like Loki takes back the power and resets everything. I don't think so. And yeah, I don't think so, man. And I also just like, where's Franklin Richards? Where's Franklin Richards? Where's the fact that Doom has Sue as a wife and Franklin as a wife? Where's Wanda in this movie? Also, Steve being the only one that's alive with memories, maybe. But I like kind of my version better, where Steve goes dark, actually. Yeah, this one definitely sounds more fake. Franklin as a wife? Ayo. Yeah, I don't know about this one, man. I don't know about this one. I think this is a well-crafted fake leak based on a lot of theories and a lot of speculation and things that are already out there for Secret Wars and all that. Or for Doomsday. Is there no mention of the symbiote suit or King Thanos? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is fake, dude. Now, again, elements of this could be real. But, yeah, nah. This one ain't it, man. Why would Doom make a Tony? Exactly. Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, I think this is a well-crafted fake leak, so I'm not really going to pay too much attention to this one, but it's worth going over anyways because sometimes we do read leaks like this and we have the same reaction where we're like, yeah, no way this is true. And then all of a sudden, like something comes out later on where we're like, yo, wait, that was in that one leak, right? And it's worth considering. But yeah, I'm going to give this one like, dude, I give this like 20% chance of being real. 80% chance this is fake as fuck. And anything that is real in here is probably just something that was gathered up from other actual leaks. You know what I mean? Fourth wall breakers should remember the previous setup before Secret Wars. That's fair. All right, somebody says I missed another chat here. Let me see if I can catch up on some of these chats. Lou Ferrigno in Secret Wars? Hell yeah, dude, that'd be sick. Oh, okay. PK says, what do you think they'll take from the 1984 Secret Wars and the 2015 Secret Wars? Yeah, so that's another great question. Because we know Jim Shooter was paid. Jim Shooter got paid. So that means some aspect of the 1984 Secret Wars will be brought into this one. What is that exactly? We're not really sure. It could be any number of things. It could be just the fighting. It could be the heroes versus the villains. Maybe it's like the X-Men being their own thing. maybe it's Galactus and Ultron, and Doom takes Galactus' power. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think it probably has more to do with like heroes and villains fighting each other. Yeah, that's a good question, bro. I'm not sure. Save this for a future stream and we can dissect it after the movie comes out. What, this leak exactly? Yeah, we'll go back over this after we know what's going on, man. Yeah. Yep, so unfortunately this one's probably fake, but I think that Doomsday one is actually pretty real too. So interesting, huh? Kind of interesting here, chat. How much changed when they canned the Kang Dynasty? Well, so from what I understand, Kang Dynasty was already being changed, and they were already pulling in more multiversal elements. This was even when they thought maybe they would keep Kang, but they knew shit wasn't going super great. So they were already changing it. And I think they would have brought Doom in, frankly, or somebody like Doom. Yeah. How will the Void play into all of this? I'm not really sure. I would assume that. So, I mean, this is another thing that's not in that first Doomsday leak that we went over, but there's rumors that Sentry is going to literally hold two worlds apart. He's going to tap into his powers, and he's going to literally fucking hold two universes apart with his bare hands. And he's afraid to do it because he thinks it'll unleash the Void when he just taps into all of his power. But he's willing to do it because he wants to save Yelena. But none of that's in the other leak either. You know what I mean? No, that's real. I'm telling you, that's real. Ader Chase says, how do your pups handle the fireworks? Mine hate it. Yeah, they don't love it, but they don't get as bothered by it. But yeah, they don't love it. Is Captain Marvel going to be in Doomsday? Yeah, I think she'll be in it a little bit, yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, that's a good day. That's a good day of streaming. That's a nice stream right there. By the way, guys, tomorrow morning or early in the afternoon, I'm going to put a video out on the main channel that is about why Sadie Sink's Jean Grey is acting evil in Spider-Man Brand New Day. It has to do with maybe some stuff with Jean Grey's sister and crazy shit like that. So look out for that. We talked about it on stream on Wednesday, I think. But if you missed that bit, we're putting that out on the main channel because I think it's a pretty big deal. I'll have clips out tomorrow, and yeah, we'll be back at it on Monday too. Yeah, there's no way they don't explain the Doom Tony connection. No, 100%. That's like ridiculous. Even John Campea himself said that they don't discuss that connection in Doomsday, but that's because they will go over it in Secret Wars. And it's literally nowhere in that leak. So yeah, that leak's not real. Hell yeah. Thoughts on the Spider-Man Yelena leak? I'm way more excited about Florence Pugh being naked than Tom Holland. And I've seen Florence Pugh in Oppenheimer and in some other movies and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm just down. Stop lying. This is the main channel. You don't say that. They will probably explain. The leak was not exhaustive. Yeah, that's true. Shine just said that Green Goblin will be in Doomsday. Oh, that's crazy. Maybe Green Goblin will be at the beginning in Toby's world. Wouldn't that be cool? There's another channel. How dare you? They'll be drinking beer out? Yeah, I hope so. What do you think the context is for that scene? I don't know. We'll see. Green Gobs and Doc Ock fighting alongside Toby would be dope. It would be dope, wouldn't it? This plot is hot buns. Is that good or bad? I'm trying to stay up with the lingo, but that one's throwing me. Is that like good? Like, do we like hot buns? I'm kind of hungry. I think some hot buns would be nice. Thoughts on the USA and FIFA? I have zero thoughts on that, brother. I haven't watched a single game of the World Cup. I don't even know if the World Cup is associated with FIFA. I've heard, like, people said on our Discord that this is the best team that America's ever had for the World Cup. Awesome. Good for us, you know, go USA. But, yeah. Did you read that they're shutting down CERN until 2030? Yeah, no, they already did it. They shut it down the other night, yeah. Till 2030. Ooh. PQ4149. Brother, you're dropping a lot of 20s. You don't got to. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate it, but, like, you know, you could do half of that. It's still a really generous super chat at $10. I've been following the Topps Marvel cards, and I think the sets are showing potential roadmap. The new set has One World Under Doom. Wait, what? No way. That's cool. I mean, I like those kind of cards. It's just like, I wish it was a little bit more like the 90s. It feels way too gimmicky these days, but I don't know. Maybe I'll crack some packs, open some stuff up. You keep sending $20 hollers. Maybe I can afford to. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. Does Green Goblin and Doc being alive mean that No Way Home cures made them survive their deaths? I think that is what it would mean. Yeah. 3 hours? That's chilling length. Wait, I've been here for 3 hours? No! I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm out. Peace out. Check this out, too. Could take off Dr. Doom's hood. And he still looks cool. China also mentioned that Green Goblin will fight Magneto. Dude, stop. I can only get so erect. Oh shit. Oh, fuck. That's awesome. Purple Funk says, can't be just mad because no Toby Dak packs and the flag. Yeah, maybe. The leaks sound so damn surface level that I hope they're fake. Well, you see, they sound surface level because they are the surface. In order for the leaks to get into the minutia and the nuance, they'd have to like write a lot more than that. And that's probably just not coming across in the leaks because it's either a game of telephone with folks that are just trying to get, you know, info out there, or, you know, it's just not like they're not, maybe they didn't even catch it all or whatever. You know, it's hard to say. Did I see the Doom Lego set? I think so. I think I saw it. Looks okay. I'm not really into Legos like that. You know, I like to build Warhammer and paint Warhammer. Y'all know about Warhammer, by the way? Do you know about Warhammer? Okay, the Fawns, appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, we're working out a little bit. I'm actually excited to get into the gym today. Really excited. You take it back. Wait, what? Have you seen the Lego Dr. Doom leak? Yes, I have, brother. You'd like to paint War Heather? No. No. Okay, I think that's going to do it for today, everybody. It's been a lovely day. Lovely day. Lovely day. I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to have a little lunch. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. It was a good stream. We'll be back at it on Monday. A lot of vids dropping over the weekend. And guys, we're getting closer and closer to the Doomsday reveal at San Diego Comic-Con. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh, it's about to pop off. Marvel's about to pop the fuck off. We got more episodes of X-Men 97 next week. Oh, good gravy, Marie. All right, everybody. Much love. Appreciate y'all. Get on out here. As I always say, I hope you, that's right, you, are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Oh man. Another happy landing, another wonderful week of streams here at Nerdvengers Tower. Hope you had a good time. Hope you were entertained. Hope the host of the show didn't yell at you too much. He was trying to lead with love today. Because Uranus is in retrograde, you know what I mean? All right. Hope you guys enjoy the weekend. Have a happy 4th of July if you're in America. And if you're not in America, I hope you have a good 4th of July too. And just remember to be super envious of America. You know, look, there's still things aren't great, and there's plenty we could do better, but we're still America. Do you see how many flavors of Pop-Tarts we have? Yeah, super hot over there in England, huh? Well, guess what? We got air conditioners every fucking which way, dog. Okay? So shut your mouth when you're talking to me and be jealous. Be jealous of America. That's the way the world should. Everybody should be jealous of America. All right, get on out of here. Do me a couple of favors. First of all, open up your third eye. And then wash out your stinky butt. How